Hello and welcome to Le Touquet. It's day 2 of the infamous Enduropale here. You can see conditions a lot different to what they were yesterday. There is a stiff breeze coming in from the ocean there as the riders make their way, filtering through the lanes of the dunes and out to the start line area, in which will be a multi-start. Remember, there will be 1,100 riders on the gate, and when the signal is given, all those guys will charge down to the much shortened start straight than we've seen in previous years. There we see the riders. These will be the guys on the front row. Number 13 there, Julien Tournesi. My name's Paul Malin. Alongside me today for the 3-hour broadcast will be Stephen Lenoir, a former European motocross champion. And Stephen, great to have you here, but rider's going down already, and he's not even completed the move from that corner to get onto the start straight here. And as we were waiting for the broadcast to come on air, we were looking at the live feed, and the first thing we noticed was the weather conditions. It's going to be windy. It's going to be very tough for these guys today.
Hi everybody, welcome on Motos TV. Yeah, we can see it's a bad day in the north of France. It looks cold and wet, and the condition for sure won't be easy as usual. Some rider we can see has been done already, so yeah.
Well, it's the 40th anniversary of the Enduropale this weekend. It used to just be called the Le Touquet Beach Race, but recently it was called and renamed the Enduropale, in which the rider with the most victories, Arnaud de Meester, finds himself back on the line. He'll be riding number 6, so clearly he'll be one of the favourites, but the guy who won it last year, Adrian van Beveren, he will ride the number 1. Arnaud de Gousset will ride number 2, and de Gousset is a rider who is knocking on the door for a podium. He was 4th last year, but Tom Lahus, he will be riding number 3. Jean-Claude Mousset, though, he was 5th last year. He is a 4-time winner. He is looking to equal the 5 wins from Kees van der Ven, who incidentally rode in the vintage Enduro on Friday, which was won by Johan Boonen. Jerome Balval was 2nd, Jan Godard was 3rd, Fred Jeanmoy was 4th. We had David Hokier, one of the organisers, and the 1997 winner, came home in 6th, and Arnaud de Meester put himself through the mill on Friday, maybe just to get a little bit of feeling underneath him around this track. He came home in 8th place, but he will be looking to improve on those 7 wins, and he'll be looking at win number 8. But as we said before, it's going to be very, very difficult. Yesterday the sky was blue, it was very calm, but there is a side wind blowing right across the track.
By the way, he's the one of the only guy, the top guys, I mean, riding with the 2-stroke still on the Sherco, brand new bike. So.
And in an event like this, I know you've never ridden it, Stephen, but when obviously just looking down here, we've got Mark Homer, and obviously he's a 4-time Dakar winner, and also the guy who was the car winner, Nasser Al-Attiyah. They are both here. They're going to do a quick demo thing, as you can see there, the car and the bike, both Red Bull supported, but obviously they just fresh back from the Dakar, not going to be competing. It's just a purely demo thing for them. But these guys here, they're packed in like sardines, and obviously it is a bit frantic. The sand was a lot drier yesterday in terms of going down the start straight for the quad race, which was won by Jeremy Warnier, but today it's a lot wetter, and as we've seen in previous years, 2013, that controversial red flag race between Mousset and Milko Podolek, for instance, Stephen, brought the race to a premature end, that we could even have that today. Already the tide is quite high.
It looks really high already, and I think for the start the condition will be really difficult, as the water is already on it. So for the goggles and everything, it's going to be a tough one.
The Googles. I like that. Well, as Mark Comer and Al-Attiyah make their way in front of the fans out there, just to give them, I don't know, some feeling of, wow, Dakar winners in their presence. The rest of the guys making their way up. Here's a quick look at where the start is, and it will go about 700 meters or so into the first corner. There's €1,000 first, the whole shot prize, as well as every year.
It used to be some riders that they were just going with the fastest bike ever just for the whole shot, and just then pulls into the first lap. But no, normally one of the best guys do the whole shot and try to win the race.
You see where the finish line is. It's actually before this hairpin corner. In the past, it's been coming out of that corner towards the Red Bull Arc, but the start straight used to be a lot longer, didn't it? Around about 6 or 7 kilometers long, the straight. And as you said, Stephen Lenoir, they would specify, they would just specialize in hooking up their bike, the gearing, in terms of getting the, you know, that €1,000 prize. But it's a 13-kilometer lap here, by the way.
Some of the, I reckon Cyril Dupre with the bike from the Dakar would have get the whole shot because the bike was so fast.
Well, just an indication of how choppy it is out there and how much closer those waves are to the track here. The 40th edition of the Enduropale here at the 2K is about to get underway. Everybody looks like they're lined up on the start line. It's a mass start, a maximum of 1,100 riders here taking to the beach side here in northwestern France. My name is Paul Malin. Alongside me is Stephen Lenoir, former European motocross champion from a few years ago, 2010?
Yeah, that's right.
And Stephen, pleasure to have you here. Weather conditions are a lot different to what they were yesterday. And look at this guy here, 8:45. They've been sat there, and the back wheel under the load of warming the bike has obviously sank. So just gives you some idea as to how soft the ground can be. But who's your money on? Who do you think your favourite is based on previous results?
I think Van Beveren for sure. He had a good previous race. He's been winning everything nearly. And yeah, I think Antoine Meo could be a big surprise. He was really fast last year, and with a bit more experience, it could be his year.
And obviously we've got Demista going for win number 8, Jean-Claude Mousset going for win number 5. Steve Vermont could be looking at his second win. What about Marc de Ruber? He's been talking himself up this last few weeks, saying he was 6th last year. He's looking forward to it, a bit more preparation, the rider from the Netherlands. But realistically, do you think it's possible for someone like de Ruber or not?
I think it's possible. You know, you never know with Marc. He's that kind of guy. If he's on a good day, he could be so fast, and it could be a surprise. We never know. I think with the condition today, and if you look the start and everything, I think it's going to be really important because you're going to get full of water and sand and have a bad vision straight away. So the guy's going to be up front. It's going to be a really big help.
Well, Thierry Sabine was the instigator of this event back in 1975. As we say, it's the 40th anniversary of the Enduropale here at the 2K. As you can see, the riders go, and it looks like a decent enough start here.
Start from the middle.
The ground a little bit firmer there, so it'll be interesting to see who grabs that all-important hole shot. And there is one of the guys there, as you can see, is Stephen Moore just pointing out on our monitor here, trying to streak away. Somebody just at the bottom of the screen there, trying to go with him.
There is two bikes that fairly quicker.
Those two bikes are hooked up, definitely. But they will get an idea here.
Number 1.
Well, that'll be Adrien Van Beveren then as he sweeps through. Looks like the number 6 of Demista, possibly. Or maybe even number 4, Jean-Claude Mousset. The distinctive riding styles from those guys, but a wet first corner and very misty already as they...
Someone's been down already.
Yeah. It's not difficult to avoid carnage there, and he's obviously trying to get himself out of the way, and these guys are hauling down the straight here. A couple of guys down there underneath the bike, so as you can see, a little bit of carnage there already, but the guys up front making their way down towards the finish line area. And you can see the track pretty flat at the moment, but after 3 hours of riding, Stephen, this place becomes pretty much like a war zone, doesn't it? A bit of a hellhole.
Really bumpy.
So we just wait for the guys to filter through. We might just get a view of the leaders from our cameras down on the ground as they approach the final corner. But we're just waiting for our live timing screens to come up here. But
I could see Husqvarna in second, so I reckon it could be Jentel Martens or René.
Yeah, whereas Jentel Martens will be riding the number 27. Pierre-Alexander René is riding 24. So it's number 1, Van Beveren, who leads the way.
Jentel Martens second.
Just trying to come towards us here. Okay, so David Martens, the former youth winner from a couple of years ago. So the young rider, he's in 3rd position. He's riding the number 12, the number...
Jentel Martens past for the lead.
So Jentel Martens, a tall, rangy Belgian. His father, of course, a former 500c motocross world champion. And you see the track there just turning tight and linking back around through the right-hander. Slightly different maybe to what it was yesterday for the quads through this particular part of the racetrack. But it's Jentel Martens leading the way from Adrian van Beveren, but there's still 3 hours to go here.
It looks really aggressive to me. It looks like they're studying for 30 minutes motos, and they won this first lap.
Well, you know what it's like as well. These guys are obviously just trying to get some distance between them on these early laps. Look at the bottlenecks down there below us, but it's Van Beveren leading from Martin. Well, Martins is obviously taking the lead at the moment. Damon Martins, a former youth winner here, is in 3rd place.
Cedric Subiras in 7.
Some of the other guys coming through. We just saw the number 35 go through there. That is Arthur Ringo. And then riders going down, and you see how deep it is. And from this angle, Stephen Lenoir, you actually see how deep it is. And from riding in these conditions, we know as riders, and you know, yourself and an ex-rider as myself, as soon as you shut off the throttle, it grabs the front end, and it's so difficult, isn't it, to control?
Yeah, slower you go, harder it is, and when you get someone in front of you, I think it's even harder, as you can't really see much.
So Jentel Martens just trying to pick his way through, and obviously while they're trying to go as fast as possible, it is difficult, isn't it, in terms of...
in my opinion, the track will be really difficult today, as it looks like they made a lot of waves, and it will create more waves in 2 laps. Instead of really flat out first lap with the single jumps, it looks a lot wavier this year. So. And a lot of tight turns, so I think it's going to be a really difficult race.
Yeah, this particular section here, the quads came straight past that on the bottom side of this orange fencing, so they missed out quite a few of these little switchbacks yesterday just to keep it all open. Ooh. Is that Martins passing? No, that's... Who's that going down?
Someone had a big crash.
That's at the front as well. That was just... That might have been Mousse or De Meester, actually, because it was a single-digit number, and it was definitely one of the Yamahas.
Yeah, it looks like Yamahas, definitely.
So Jentel Martens streaking ahead down the straight here. Those jumps are actually short and sharp, aren't they? You don't want to be...
That was a long jump.
Yeah. Remember a few years ago, maybe even 2010, 2011, the jumps were a lot shorter, sharper, where you literally had to shut off and hit the throttle and take off, but they look like they're carrying a lot more speed through there. And obviously Jentel Martens, he's the guy that's going to be the guinea pig, if it were. He's the one that's testing the boundaries as to how fast you can hit those jumps. But former MX3 Grand Prix winner a couple of years ago in Valkenswaard, remember when it was pretty wet in the final year of... see how the bike just reacts there, but looking good on that Husqvarna.
Yeah, he's looking really good, and he's looking really confident.
And then into the... And again, there's another one of those switchbacks. Yesterday, that would have continued along the straight where the spectators are. This was him just kind of, I've just passed Adrian van Beveren. But at the moment, as they're still working their way up towards Stella Plage, it's the number 27 of Jentel Martens. Jentel Martens streaking clear. Got a perfect view of him from the helicam. You just had a bit of a reaction there, Stephen Lenoir, as he hit that jump, because we know, again, that some of them are pretty fast and some of them could give him a little bit of a kick.
Yeah, and I'm surprised how confident he is, because I think the first lap you never know if they're hard or soft, you know what I mean, and you can go easily straight over the bar, and with the speed he's going, it's pretty impressive, to be honest.
And this is a problem with the 1100 riders in the race. One guy falls, another guy runs into the back of him, and then we get all these kind of bottlenecks. Yesterday, the last lap of the race was around about 13, 14 minutes from Warnier on the quad, just to give you some idea around this 13-kilometre lap. So hopefully a lot of that will be cleared by the time this guy here, your race leader, Jentel Martens, comes back around to complete his first lap. Yeah,
well, if it's like every year, I think the second lap is always really busy, so I think it might be the same this year. Some corners looks really tight, so
he's opened up quite a decent advantage at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah, you have already quite a gap, and then the second, third, and fourth they're still tight.
So some of the delays, embouteillage, some of the embouteillage? Is that the
embouteillage parisien? Yeah, that's right.
The bottlenecks, the traffic jams. See these guys just trying to clear their way. There's like a bike upside down there, a guy trying to push it away, and obviously this is where the riders start to go outside of the track markings just to try and alleviate some of that problem. But It's a lonely old place out there for Jentel Martens. The track has been freshly prepped for him. Won't be like that. That's the thing with the 2K as well, isn't it? The second lap they come around, it is already very, very rough, like you wouldn't believe.
I think every lap is like a different track, so you have to look in front and be smooth.
Guys just trying to push their bikes. Seems like they're trying to push them over a mountain at this stage, even on lap 1.
Some of the riders having a mile already.
Yeah. They've not actually smoothed out that section from that's the corner after the finish line underneath the Red Bull arc, and you can see how wavy it was through there from the quad race yesterday. So already very difficult for some of these guys, because those kind of conditions are what you'd normally experience at the end of the race. So in some areas, especially down there, they've decided to leave it like that, and obviously a lot of the lesser experienced riders getting caught out. Ooh, a little bit wide.
He nearly missed that turn.
Yeah.
Didn't see it coming.
Well, he's at the end of the, he's at the most southerly end of the circuit now, Stella Plage, and making his way back down along the straight. And Steve, I know you've never ridden this event before, but you can see how some of the ground is a lot smoother and firmer, and they've actually put some chicanes in here just to slow it down a little bit, but the tide is already quite high. And
Stella normally is always the hardest, and normally is really wet on that straight, so it's not too bad actually looking this year.
Yeah.
Last year was a lot more water on the track and stuff. So.
Yeah, and in 2013 as well, it was again a race where it was red flagged, maybe a lap before it needed to be, but that was when Milko Podozek passed Jean-Claude Mousset going into the final corner. Mousset then fell, then they threw the red flag to say we've stopped the race early. Very controversial, because it was indeed Milko Podozek riding the 2B Yamaha that day who passed the line, and he was deemed not the winner, because when a red flag is thrown, they actually take it back another lap, and that was of course when you look at the results then, it was Mousset who was the leader at that time in the race. But some guys already taken a breather. These guys not even out of the first couple of corners, just struggling to get over the hills. But you can see from the track marker tapes on the side of the track there that how strong the wind is, just even from the flags from the marshals as well, and the movement from the Red Bull arc as well.
The arch is moving.
But just look at the style here of Jentel Martens, number 27 on the Husqvarna, streaking down the straight back towards the start area. There'll be no jumps here, but then it will tighten up. There'll be a bit of chicane, and then he hits the deep stuff. And we've still seen, Stephen Lenoir, that a lot of those guys around that final corner in between the finish line and the Red Bull arc, there is still a lot of bodies laying around, and it could cause problematic, maybe for him, maybe the guys that are battling second, third, fourth at the moment, who might just be a little bit closer together.
Yeah, I think I remember a couple of years ago, the rider in front in the second lap, they had to go through the bank and everything to make a way through, so I think the second lap's going to be difficult.
Well, we are, this is the area that Jentel Martens, our race leader, will be fast approaching any time now.
Actually, I can't see a way that it's going to get around. It looks really difficult to me.
And it's the problem, because you see now it's starting to slow back down again. He's reached the end of the straight, back onto the normal, so he would have already passed the point of the first corner when the start straight was coming in the opposite direction into a left and then down this straight here. See, riders have already been through that part of the racetrack, and it's already a lot of lines, bikes and riders laying on the other side of the jumps, and now he's going to really going to have his heart in his mouth now, isn't he? Because he's going to be looking ahead, thinking, okay, I am having to dodge a lot of people here, and this is where it gets problematic. This is the first time actually in about 5 years that I've seen riders still stranded here on the opening lap, having not cleared the finish line. Oh, and I tell you what, there's a guy closing right in on is it Van Beveren closing right in on Jentel Martens? Here's Martens, number 27, in the blue helmet and the yellow bib, and just behind him...
Yes, there is a yummy guy.
And it's number 1, Van Beveren, last year's winner, I think. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So Van Beveren is going to go through, is he? I think, has he found a way through? No, he's just a couple of bikes back. There's just that with Suzuki there.
The experience pays already. Van Beveren's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And,
and he's gone through. Martens gets held up.
Jentel.
And look at the line that he's taking here. Van Beveren going high up the banking. Martens has gone down. So 27, Jentel Martens.
Can say thanks to the electric start.
Yeah. So look at this. This is where the experience truly does pay off now, isn't it?
And they're all blocked.
Van Beveren just up, stopping, having a quick look, and he will also start to shout his way through there. We just see him.
Oh,
and,
someone is cutting the track.
Yeah, and that looks like a single digit as well. And I was looking on the results last year from last year's race, you know, before we came here, and there were a lot of guys, a lot of favourites last year disqualified, but
Yes.
they are going to have to allow that. Look, even here, pushing his bike up the bank, Van Beveren. He's your race leader at the moment, but just behind him in the blue helmet, looking for a way through the 27 of Jentel Martins, trying to get up on the bank, and he retakes the lead, I think. Yes, he does. But then Van Beveren, he's the wrong side of the markers there, so already drama before they've even completed a lap. Look, a lot of guys now having to go single file just to get through this bottleneck. And there's Martins now.
Unbelievable, they are all stuck on the... It looks like they can't take the bike away.
And the track is flat at this point in general, but okay, they've left some holes there. But there's Jentel Martins. Now we can only assume, and that he has. Well, I'm assuming that he's found his way past the number one of Van Beveren in that little melee there. So, wow, drama on the first lap. Whoa! And he gets taken wide by a wayward backmarker as well, who was just trying to get going again. So the guy with the yellow bib, and the yellow bib's normally the indication that these are the front runners in the race. The guys that the helicopter camera has to follow and look out for. They're the favourites.
I think Jentel gonna have to calm down a little bit and not ride as aggressive as he did in the first lap, because now there is a lot of slow rider and you can get a big crash really easily.
Well, we just saw as he hit that jump a moment ago, there was a guy on the left side of the jump who'd landed. He was parked the opposite direction. So as you say, you know, first track was the first lap was clear track, and the second lap now is looking a little bit more complicated because of the problems that we had coming out of the final corner. There is the number 12 of Damon Martins, no relation, but he's a former youth winner. He was 9th in 2012, and he was a winner in the Young Riders event in 2013, which last year was won by Ben Watson, who's not riding here this weekend. But he's looking pretty well placed at the moment. Again, somebody that specialises in this kind of event. But that is just crazy carnage. Welcome to our American viewers and South American viewers as well, by the way.
This looks like Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude looks like stuck.
Yeah, number 4, Jean-Claude Mousset, the 4-time winner, just there up on the bank.
Just behind him, the mister.
Number 6. So the 4-time winner and the 7-time winner locked pretty much together. And this was flat last time around.
Mark de Ruver just looked like just behind Jentel Martins.
De Ruver running 23?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a lap behind or fighting for the lead, but it looks well.
And also there, number 7, Richard Fuhrer, who was 9th a couple of years ago, didn't have the best time last year in 25th. Oh, he was disqualified
Mark de
last year.
Ruver went for it, just past Jentel.
So the BT Motorsport Honda, de Ruver's down!
Ooh.
Oh! He just took the lead, and I'm not sure actually if he got landed on there by Jentel Martins, but it looks he does look hurt. He had a big crash at the Motocross of Nations in Latvia last year where his face was completely smashed up. Watch here. He jumps, he gets his foot pegs caught, he lands. Martins is already committed.
I think he hurts him.
Maybe just clipped him on the way through, but just illustrates how treacherous the conditions here already. Just at the start of the second lap. So Mark de Ruver.
It's not good to land on your friend because they're good friends as well. So
you couldn't avoid him. Couldn't avoid him, you know.
Unfortunately, that's the sports.
So we are.
Is he a car park or?
I think it is, and traffic wardens will be out in a minute issuing tickets if they're not careful. I mean, he's got like 2 pairs of goggles on him there, that guy. But this is just crazy.
He's trying to get through the wall. But
trying to kick the wall down. Look, it's not a sandcastle.
Might be a little bit tough.
I tell you what, that crash has done for Jentel Martins. It's probably just shown him how difficult and how easy it is to make a mistake there. Because de Ruver.
Yeah, it's why I said a little bit earlier. You don't know if the jumps is hard or soft.
Van Beveren. So Van Beveren is ahead of Jentel Martins.
Yeah.
That's him, centre of the screen. Yeah.
We missed him.
So, what an opening lap we've had here. Completely different to the quad race yesterday, where it was pretty static from the first race, from the first lap onwards. But the visibility is already quite hazy as well. And, you know, it's windy out there. The track is already rutted up. As we say, 1,100 riders out on track at the moment. But he's experienced a few problems on the opening lap. This guy here, number 1, Adrian Van Beveren. But he looks to be the leader at the moment. We are having problems just like you guys at home trying to follow this with our live timing. So, of course, if we can try and get that rectified. Then, of course, we will do, but it does look very much like Van Beveren is the leader. Jensel Martins is in second, and possibly Damon Martins, the previous winner from the young class in 2013, is third. Just saw a glimpse there of Julien Campet, number 32, running alongside his bike that was already steaming, and these guys here, there's TV cables and all kinds of things there. There he is, as he's trying to get that bike possibly to the work area just to get some water, and just gives you some idea as to how much time he's been there. He's probably not even completed a lap just yet.
I think the radiators are a bit damaged. The Suzuki is not going to go much further.
Well, I guess the obvious question, Stephen Lenoir, to ask right now is why would you want to compete in this race when we see what we're seeing here in the opening lap?
I think it's fun, but for sure when you have big goals and you want to win it, I think it's really frustrating when something like it happens. But yeah, he's really famous. He's been this has been for I think 50 years.
Yeah, 40 years now.
40 years, yeah.
And the track used to go up in these sand dunes here, but then the environmentalists kind of got involved.
Definitely.
And changed the landscape of the race, which is now basically straight up, straight back with a load of chicanes and kinks and speed jumps. But
I think before was even tougher than now. It's a little bit more flat. So
yeah, it was a lot tougher when they used to go up between the dunes, because once that whooped out, as the rest of the track will do later on in the race, you really had nowhere else to go, because you were riding through ravines to get from the bottom to the top and over the back. But like you say, it keeps everybody in full sight of the fans. 200,000 people here last year on a day very much similar to this one in terms of the weather, and it really is a major event in the calendar. It's the final round of the Sand Race Championship as well, isn't it? So just some of the slow-mo images here of some of the guys. The number 48 there, who is Alexis Boultez. And who's that?
I like this English accent, Boultez.
Boultez or Boultez? It's like your Googles. Hey, he could have been Spanish or Mexican or anything. It's going to be a long 2.5 hours.
For some of the guys, yeah. This one, especially for him.
How do you get orange fencing wrapped around the front wheel? Oh, 1 and 27.
There is a fight, yeah.
And Martins fighting back. So this is going to be, and this is what Van Beveren doesn't need at the moment, isn't it? He wants to take it easy on the second lap, but these guys actually push hard all the race anyway. But you don't want to be in a battle like this with someone like Jensel Martins, who we know can ride well in the sand, especially when there's so many things going on around them, like fallen riders already.
In my opinion, there is like someone kind of a Belgium GP rider, and especially for beach race. So you can see there is one looking ahead on being really smooth and one pushing really because you want to be up front. But you can see the Antoine Meo is coming back, and he's normally the quickest.
And that's him just at the back of the screen now, number 21. So the multi-time Enduro World Champion, Antoine Meo. He's right there in the wheel tracks of the guy in the centre of the screen, Jensel Martins. And his bike's gone bang!
Oh, his bike.
His bike has gone bang! And Antoine Meo, who entered last year, he finished second at his first attempt. And well, we just saw if that KTM was going to close down the Husqvarna, both 450 machines, and then it looked like he was dropping back, and then boom, a puff of smoke, and Antoine Meo, one of the favourites, is out of Le Touquet on lap 2.
After maybe, what, 15 hours? 15 minutes?
Feels like 15 hours for some of those guys.
After 15 minutes, the engine went bang, so that is definitely not...
So yeah, well, the start of the race, I clocked it as soon as the flag went, and there's a guy with a TV cable and everything wrapped around his rear wheel, and they can't cut that, because if that's HD cable, well, then obviously that's
I'm not sure we're going to have timing soon.
No, we haven't got timing anyway. So 21:36 has gone on the clock at the moment, and so 21 minutes. It was Antoine Meo who, out of the favourites, his Red Bull KTM going bang on the run back from Stella Plage down the main straight as he went in pursuit of the 27 of Jensel Martins. And now we've got even more drama as the Red Bull arc is obviously being deflated as riders have tried to go through around the outside, and suddenly We might even find a red flag situation here as well, because, well, they're going to have to deflate it and pull it away. But there is number 1, Adrian van Beveren, as he streaks down the main straight. But it's, well, it was Deruva actually crossed the line in first place on at the end of the first lap. And then Jentel Martins, and then obviously he crashed out. But it's Van Beveren leading the way. I think it's Jentel Martins in second. Third position will probably be Damon Martins, the young Belgian. And fourth position, possibly Camille Chapelier. And then Xavier Borg at the end of the first lap came through in 6th ahead of Antoine Mayo. Mayo is out now because we've seen his bike go bang a couple of minutes ago on the run back down the main straight from Stella Plage. Steve Ramon will now be up into 7th, possibly because he was 8th at the end of that first lap ahead of Cedric Suberas and Julien Tournessi. Tom Lahouse riding number 3. He will be there in about 10th position as the riders start to gradually filter through there. But Lahouse, who's a couple of times inside the top 10 in this event in the last couple of years, he'll be looking to climb higher up the leaderboard as well. And then we've got Axel Val Dassault, and then Sebastian Dulot. Mickey Stauffer, the Red Bull KTM test rider, or the KTM factory rider from Austria, he's in 14th position. And then Ricky Klaus, 15th. And Thierry Klutz, a couple of these guys with high numbers. Stauffer 1096 and Klutz 1083, because I think they were disqualified last year. Maybe not Ricky Klaus, but I know Thierry Klutz was. Jean-Claude Mousset look in 20th position. I think it was Mousset that crashed.
Yeah, we can see some of the leader from last year, Führer Richard, which he had a couple of good laps in the lead last year, and Arnaud de Guzet, which finished 4th. They had a difficult first lap with 18th place on 21, so it's definitely difficult this year.
So we're just looking down into this bottom left corner, splitting the back markers. There is the number 1, Adrian van Beveren. He's turning left now, that 90-degree turn, and he'll be getting ready to come through to complete his second lap just there. And here he is, the number 1. And Ramon is that Ramon just behind him?
Yeah, the number 22.
So
Ramon is just behind.
Yeah, so Steve Ramon in yellow riding the Suzuki. And they're splitting their way through here. So Ramon in the yellow on the right side, and they come together almost. And Van Beveren looking for a way through. And Van Beveren getting held up.
You can see now they're going through the arch because I think they don't want to get disqualified. But
exactly.
The way is still difficult.
And there is Ramon going through, just about gets through, so too does Van Beveren, so he still leads the way here.
The clutch definitely won't like.
The clutch is not going to like it, the radiators aren't going to like it, and the thing is, I think you have to stop at least twice now. It used to be that they could put the fuel tank on there so big. If you look at the number 1 here, when he turns left or right in a moment, you see how big that gas tank is. There's Ramon, he was the winner here in 2011.
You can see Jentel had the contact with the rider because his left panel is hanging.
So the clutch cover kind of thing? Oh, the actual radiator shrouds.
Yeah.
So Jentel Martins is still in there as well then. So there's Van Beveren going through, yeah. Then Ramon, and then just in the background it was the blue helmet of the number 27 of Jentel Martins, and there's a bike steaming as well the other side of the jump. Van Beveren just missed him on the landing there, but the guy in yellow at the back, he's the guy in second position, chasing the guy in the center of the screen in blue on the left-hand side of the screen, and that is number 1, Adrian van Beveren. He's leading. He was last year's winner, of course, so the 2 one-time winners of this event are first and second, with Jentel Martins in third on that Husqvarna. Starting to thin out just a little bit, Stephen Lenoir, and look at that.
Yeah, some of the riders haven't completed half lap yet, so
2 corners.
Yeah.
Haven't even made it over the start-finish line, pretty much. Under the tunnels.
Would be good if the timing comes up.
So Van Beveren just there, over the jump in blue, and just disappearing out of shot. He might come back into view from the left-hand side in a minute in yellow. Steve Ramon, number 22. And you see how choppy the ground is already. There is Ramon, and the Grand Prix experience. Ooh. Oh, he almost gets collected there. As the number 13 coming in, Tournesi.
He's already had a pit stop.
So already had a pit stop early on. And
looks like something's going, a cable around the U.
So that is cable. That's not like trackside marker tape, is it? That's proper cable or rope, banner rope or something like that. But he's probably still going to have to stop. But he's not in a hurry at the moment because he knows at this stage, how long are we into the race, did we say? Around about 28 minutes, something like that. 27 minutes have gone. hope you washed your hands.
He's eating as well.
Yeah. So I hope he's washed his hands.
Quick lunch. Well, it's time for lunch.
All right, okay, back with the leaders in the bottleneck. And Jens Martins has gone through around the outside, and he's passing there the number 1 of Van Beveren and Ramon in that bottleneck. So Jens Martins from out of nowhere, he's closed down.
Scared. He's not scared.
He's not scared. But someone like Jens Martins, as good as he's pushing at the moment, as you said, Stephen Lenoir, he's a kind of rider, and the right side, you can see the radiator covers just hanging off there, so he's maybe had a collision or just pushed past somebody. It wasn't the Deruva, because Deruva was on the left side when he clipped him, possibly when he fell. But
I hope Nike's all right.
Yeah, so do I. But this is a guy who's got motocross fitness, possibly, more than someone like Van Beveren, who's a seasoned campaigner in an event like this, where he can go for 3 hours at this pace.
Definitely.
So that looks like the 3 leaders then. Jens Martins taking the lead again as a 32. Julien Campet trying to fire his bike up as well. Now with the pit stops, you have to stop the bike, otherwise it's a straightforward disqualification. Whether you're filling up or whether you're having just a breather, the bike has to be stopped in the work area.
I think
Van Beveren's gone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's there, side by side. Van Beveren in the blue and Ramon. So Van Beveren's gone back into second, and the guy in the yellow on the jump now on the right-hand side, almost colliding with the marshal. That is Jens Martins. So the first 3, you can see them going past the slower riders. Jens Martins and Ramon now go second. Number 22 on that yellow Suzuki, and Van Beveren is being pushed back to third. And look at the chicanes, at the mobile chicanes that they're having to deal with here, Stephen Lenoir. It really is quite a mental battle for these guys out on track at the moment.
Yes, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Jentel's bike was really smoking.
Well, it could be that, or it could just be the wisps of sand that kick up and all the rest of it. But we're getting ready for a commercial break here. But as we go into the break, it's Jens Martins leading by less than a couple of bike lengths from Stephen Ramon and Adrien Van Beveren. We've got a race on here today, folks. We're looking at Adrien Van Beveren as he masters his way through the masses of riders there, but it's Stephen Ramon who's just a few yards ahead of him on the Suzuki, continuing to lead this race. And just behind this guy here, number 1, Adrien Van Beveren, is the 27 of Jens Martins. My name's Paul Maiden, alongside me, Stephen Lenoir, former European motocross champion. Stephen, it's pretty exciting at the moment, isn't it? And obviously conditions now on lap 3, very, very tough indeed.
Yeah, it's really good. Some of the top guys are already out, so. And it's a Belgium sandwich now.
Well, there is Ramon, number 22, and then you just saw the 27 in the background there, Jens Martins. But this guy here, Van Beveren, last year's winner, going in pursuit of Steve Ramon out on the backside of the circuit. We've already seen Antoine Mayo when he was in 3rd position blow an engine as he came out of Stella Plage, which is the furthest point down at this end of the beach. Stella Plage, the right-hander that takes everybody back down the straight, back towards the start-finish line. That was on the 2nd lap when he was challenging Jens Martins and Adrien Van Beveren. We've seen Mark Deruva go out as well. He got his foot pegs caught on one of the jumps coming back up towards this part of the beach. This is heading back down towards the finish line area again, the long straight back. And he got clipped by Jens Martins, it looked like, as Martins came through. He was already committed in the air over the jump, but it's already been a drama-filled opening couple of laps here at the 40th edition of the 2K. There is Van Beveren. He's in 2nd position, squeezing his way through the back markers over some of those jumps. Those ruts are getting deeper. The track, a lot different to what it was yesterday for the quad race, Stephen Lenoir, where it was a brighter day, no wind. The sand here was generally harder, it was drier, and conditions are a lot more favourable for the riders out on track. But for these guys, they really know they've got their work cut out. We already saw at the end of the 1st lap when the leaders came through how much carnage there was after the finish line into that final corner, going through the Red Bull Arc. The leaders were having to fight their way through. There was not a clear track for them to go through and start the 2nd lap, and it has really set the stage for the rest of this race now, hasn't it? The race has been going for just around about 35 minutes. 34 minutes and 3 seconds in what is a 3-hour race. But as we've seen in the past, the red flag could come out if the tide starts to encroach on the beach, where it could be dangerous. Well, look how treacherous, Stephen, the racetrack is here. That was flat when they went through on the 1st lap. We're on lap 3 now, and it is anything but flat. Well, Well, we will see these guys go through, and I'm sure we'll pick up our race leaders again any moment now from the helicopter. You can see from the flags blowing in the wind how stiff the breeze is here. And obviously going down that straight, when it's that strong, the riders are also having to focus as well because they're being blown around all over the place.
You have to be so tight on the bike and squeeze your legs so hard, so definitely it's not a big rest.
This guy probably not even completed the first lap, as we were saying.
There is not much GoPro actions going on, actually.
It's no pro. I think they're all heroes, though.
Yeah.
Number 36 there, just off to the left. And that guy there, number 24, number 12, Damon Martins. He was a former winner in 2 years ago in the Young Riders race, the junior race. And we believe that he's well placed at the moment, well inside the top 5. He was third at the end of the first lap. But we are having problems with our live timing, folks, so bear with us if we only go on about the top guys in the race. But this guy here, Adrian van Beveren, who was a winner last year in 2014, he was third in 2013 and then fourth in 2012. He has been second as well back in 2010, so he's looking at going after his second win, but he's in pursuit of the winner from 2011, riding number 22 on the Suzuki. That, of course, Steve Ramon, who was third last year. So both these guys have more than a fair share of experience at this very, very tough, very difficult, the 2K Enduropale. The track's just a little bit more favourable to them in terms of there are less riders to deal with, but they are still having to deal with guys with a lot less experience with them, as you see there. The guy just meandering offline a little bit there. And
there is a lot of snake on the track.
A lot of snakes on the track. Is that what you call them in France?
No, we don't use snake in France, but it looks like it.
Yeah. They're just kind of, they can't keep a straight line. So we kind of have lost the 27 of the back marker getting tagged there. And that's also dangerous because the front wheel of Van Beveren could have also easily caught the foot peg of the back marker as he went through and could have damaged the spokes, but it looks like he didn't make that much contact.
Stroke, the racks, everything is so easy to damage the bike. This is why this race is so special.
Just trying to keep an eye out in the background for the blue helmet of the number 27. Yeah, Tim Martin. It looked like it was there, but it's the one who's already gone through over the line. That was a red pull up there at the start of the race, but they've obviously had to pull that down because it looked like it got deflated as riders were impatient, trying to find a way through.
Well, maybe the wind as well. Maybe this page.
Yeah.
So much wind.
Van Beveren now just looks like he's regained his composure a little bit now, and he's finding his rhythm, and he's going in pursuit of Ramon. Ramon, of course, a former two-time world motocross champion.
I think the most matter at the minute is not to be too far from the lead. Keep smooth. Don't spend too much energy in the last 45 minutes. If you need to gain some time when the track gets rough, you can make a lot of difference and push really hard. But no, you just ride over someone.
Goes to show, doesn't it? Chevalier. So Chevalier, number 9 there, going through. He's leading with the 2K here. It is a one-off race in terms of the TV spectacle. It's a massive, massive event in Northern France. But there is also the 5th round of the Sand Race Championship, of which he is leading. Yeah,
he's leading. Actually, Van Beveren. The race was last week, and he said, well, I'm gonna rest and make sure I'm 100% full ticket, which is the main race. So,
and last week was Osgo.
Yeah, so with the good result, Chapelier went into the lead of the championship, but he's still like a rookie. Nice. Chapelier.
I liked that. He jumped on and jumped off, cleared the holes at the side, and yeah, Chapelier now in 3rd place. 36 seconds down on Van Beveren, and he's only 4 seconds down on Ramon, so if we can pan out wide enough with our helicam, we should be able to see Steve Ramon on yellow, ahead of the guy who's picking his way neatly through some of these holes here.
But we lost Yentel, which was fighting with the leaders.
Yeah,
it's not there anymore.
No, we noticed that as he came through towards the finish line area, he wasn't there on the back wheel of him, so 35 minutes in, maybe that motocross fitness has deserted him now, you know, and he's having to maybe dig deep already. On lap 3 here. There's Ramon, is he? Yes, Ramon in the top corner.
Yeah, it's 2 corners in front, so which is not much.
It's more than the 4 seconds it was when they came over the line. So yes. Stephen Ramon, there he is, just off to the right.
He was looking actually on the side to see where.
There's 12th. So that was Damon Martins just going through onto the finish line area. So again, inside the top 10, we believe. This is always a dodgy situation, is it? The riders just falling the other side of the jump, particularly when the quick guys come through. There is Ramon, 22. He is your race leader. How close was Van Beveren? There, just in the background, and there he is a little bit closer up as well. So it was about 3 or 4 seconds. It's around about 10 or 12 seconds now as they make their way up towards Stella Plage. And there is Chapelier, number 9 on the left. He's now in 3rd. So back with our helicam, live above the beach here at the 2K. Trying to pick out the number 22 Suzuki of Steve Ramon, our race leader. Well, here's Van Beveren, number 1. He's in 2nd position, so he's approaching the right-hander that is at Stella Plage any moment now, and he will be making his way back, which means Ramon is just ahead of him. So he will be hoping to try and pull back some of that distance with a little bit of top-end speed on that Yamaha. And Yamahas actually traditionally have done very, very well here. They also have the most race wins on 14, Honda have 13. Suzuki only have 1, that one of Ramon's in 2011. And we were talking, Steve Lenoir, before we came on air, and you said they're the only manufacturers that really support it heavily still.
Yes, it's been some of the refactors has been being riders, then stopped, then came back. And I think Yamaha has been sticking for many, many years with the Mester, and Van Beveren, Potisek, all these guys. And yeah, for sure, with such a fast engine and lots of experience, I think it does help.
So here's the top 10 at the moment after 3 laps. So Ramon is your leader. Van Beveren is in 2nd position. Chapelier is in 3rd place. Then Axel Van Desson is in 4th. And then we have Subaras in 5th position. So Subaras looking good, but there is Arnaud Debussy. Just saw him going into the pits a moment ago. He's up and running once again.
Just a word about Subaras. I think what he's doing now is pretty impressive, as he only had, I think, probably 10 days preparing for that race and setting up the bike and everything.
Why's that? Just coming back from injury, or just decided to enter the last one?
He's doing, Supercross a lot, so the last race of the Supercross was maybe 1st week of January, so it's been, yeah, at the minute top 5 I think is really good for him, and if you keep it to the end it would be like fantastic.
Well, we're just seeing there the yellow over the jump, coming up to the jump in the middle of the screen now. He's your race leader, Steve Ramon. He had a pretty decent advantage over Adrian Van Beveren just a moment ago, and he's extending that lead now. It's super smooth, and a lot of guys criticise him when he was world champion in both classes in 125 in 2003, and when he was champion in 2007 in MX1. Didn't win enough races, they said, but he's a 2-time world champion. The record speaks for itself. Super smooth, and we're seeing that kind of experience that's taken him to those world championships after such a major incident as well a couple of years ago, where he broke his neck, and he's found, there was a slight disability with him, wasn't there, where he had leg movement problems, issues, and he's getting caught up with back markers, but he's managed to overcome those. He's found himself back on a bike, and a challenge of riding the 2K, coming back. And actually the year that he won it was the year that he got injured in 2011. So this would be really, a dream day for him if he can improve on that 3rd place from last year and go on to take his 2nd title.
Me, I think after his big injuries, he shows how much of a good rider he is to be able to ride that speed still after such a big accident.
Some of the highlights, that was Julien Campet, the 32, going down earlier while his bike almost expiring. He was one of the guys that possibly didn't make it through the first turn. You see the guy in the blue there, number 1. That was when he was ahead of the yellow of the 22 of Steve Ramon. So earlier on in the race, all of these highlights. But
the sand behind the fin, that's not good.
No. But it is a very, very difficult race to negotiate. I've never done it personally, but knowing how sand behaves when you're trying to ride it, Steve Ramon, we talk about Lierop, for instance, as the toughest Grand Prix track in the world, where we're not going to this year in 2015 in MX2, by the way, which does get underway on the 28th of February in Qatar. Next week, of course, we've got HIMX, Hawkstone International Motocross, which you're actually going to be competing at, I believe, on your new Dyron bit, the KTM.
Yes, definitely first race of the year. I'm looking forward to it.
Jordi Tixier will also be there, as so will the other guys from Montreal Kawasaki, of course, Thomas Covington, a load of great guys out there as well, Sean Simpson, and Tommy Searle is riding in Italy this weekend in the Italian Championship on his new team with his teammates Ken Dyker and of course Tony Cairoli. But yeah, Hawkstone International Motocross, the first major race of the year in 2015 at the famous Hawkstone Park venue just outside of Hodnet in Shropshire. And of course we'll all be up there. Look at the lines there, just cutting the corners there for number 22, Steve Ramon.
We might have similar condition, we never know.
You never know, but there's going to be a lot of top riders up there. And how important is that race for someone like you, Steve?
I think it's important, especially when you get into a new team. You just want to make a first race, see what's going on, and see where you are actually. Give you some advice for what you need to work on for the few weeks left before the main race. And yeah, you need to start somewhere.
Well, we're looking at the guy on the left, and that is Van Beveren, and the guy on the right, I think, is Ramon. And I think is it Ramon? No, I don't think it is. He's not going to pass him that quick. Maybe it is. I don't know. Difficult to see from here. It might possibly be. We might have just had a lead change there. So we'll see as we pick up the leaders. I think it might have been, I think he's using some. Yes, it is, because Ramon up on the pegs. So we have a new leader, Van Beveren, just clearing the big machine there.
We talked earlier how fast was the Yamaha, and this was the.
So
it shows.
This guy here is your new race leader then, number 1, Adrian Van Beveren on the Yamaha. He's found a way back. So again, the experience, Stephen Noir, of someone like Van Beveren, knowing that you've got the bike set up for the long straight here. The tight, twisty stuff is probably where Steve Ramon might be able to work his magic a little bit, pull some time back. But this is where it's going to matter, because at the end of this, there's not so much tight, twisty stuff on the approach towards the finish line area. So if he can build up a few seconds here, that might be the difference in the race. There's your first 2 in shot. They are first and second in the race. Ramon here, no? No, that's not him. So he's actually opened up a massive gap already just from Stella Plage. So there is, on the very left side of your screen, streaking past the guys to the right, that's number 1, Adrian Van Beveren, your race leader on the Yamaha. Got his head down, his elbows up, and his bum right the way back, trying to streamline himself as much as possible. You see how the bike is snaking. And then it's going to move even more as he starts to slow down here, as the deep ruts start to evolve. Has to change direction, but look how committed he has to be just to try and keep that front wheel as light as possible. And that's part of the technique around here, isn't it, Steve Lenoir?
Part of the sand, yeah, definitely.
Well, at the end of lap 3, this is going to be lap 4 completed for number 1. It was Steve Ramon who was leading, but this guy here, Van Beveren, number 1, is your new race leader in second. As your new race leader. Then we've got Camille Chapelier is in 3rd place, and then Axel Van Descendre, I think it was, in 4th position there. A couple of the favourites already gone out, Mark Deruva, Antoine Mayo. We haven't seen too much of Arnaud De Meester either, so but this guy is right where he wants to be as we approach the hour mark. Still plenty of time to go in this 40th edition of Le Touquet Enduropale. The Belgian here, number 1, taking a quick pull of his tear off.
We haven't seen the world champion of Enduro as well, Pierre-Eric Brunet.
No, and I wonder actually if he possibly might have been the guy. There was a guy that we saw on the opening lap, in and amongst Steve Ramon, heading towards the finish line, who took off on the jump. It might have even been him that went down, because it was definitely one of the favourites that got caught out there. I was just having to pick his way through. And over the line he goes then to complete 4 laps. Number 1, Adrian Van Beveren. It'll be interesting to see what the gap is back to Steve Ramon as he goes over the line. But see a little bit of a split section there. Here's where Ramon found his way past Van Beveren. It's actually quite big, around about maybe 10 seconds. Because here is Van Beveren. The flash of yellow in the background that we saw before we went tight on shot here with Van Beveren was the yellow Suzuki of Stephen.
Like Adrien take his time to watch his pit board, because I think the formation is really important, and sometimes you can lose 1 or 2 seconds by watching, but it can help you a lot.
Yeah, there are 2 areas actually for pit boarding for these guys. There's Ramon, he's now in second on that Suzuki. He's actually come in. He's in pit lane.
Coming for the pit lane.
So Ramon then, he's decided to come in whilst this guy here, number 1, Adrian van Beveren, has stayed out to complete what would be, well, to complete his 5th lap. There's Ramon coming there, look. Number 11. So the boys down there at Suzuki. Not sure who's got as his crew chief this weekend. I think Roman Atkinson is there in the back. He's the next one to try. Bo Rasmussen, the guy with the fuel.
Chevrolet is going for 1 more lap as well, so I presume he's going to be in second.
And that's number 9 there, so he would have leapfrogged Steve Ramon possibly while he's in the pits here, because Ramon just getting going again. Down, just time. So, just wonder if see how deep pit lane is going to be quite difficult as well for some riders to make it back out into track. So Ramon then rejoins the race, not exactly sure where he's going to be, but we think that Camille Chapelier will have leapfrogged him, pushed him down to 4th. Axel Van der Sar might have also gone through on the 1090 machine, 1090. Zubaras, not sure how far back he was. Probably around about 8 seconds down on Desambre. So anyway, Steve Ramon rejoins the race. There's your race leader, number 1 though, Van Beveren. Damon Martin has dropped down to about 12th position, the former younger winner. There's Degussy down in 16th place. Just trying to pick out some of the guys at Stefan Bottel as well. He's done a little bit of supermoto in his time. And if we just scroll down, 22nd place, number 29, Jeremy Tarou. Former 85cc European champion, 125 European champion.
On Fura went from 18 to 6, so he's definitely on the gas.
So we're looking out here at number 1, Adrian van Beveren. He decided to stay out, and he's given himself a nice little bit of breathing space on this 5th lap because Ramon came in for repairs. Just looking at Arnaud de Meester, he's in 10th position. He's just come in for a pit stop as well, and we notice his right handguard has been knocked down as well, so maybe being down early on or whatever. But also the number 5 we saw on the commercial break there, Marshall Meplon, had fall as well, so looked like he got himself up pretty quickly. But this guy here continues to lead, number 1, Adrian van Beveren, looking very, very good indeed. And before we went on that commercial break, Steve Lenoir, it looked like things had played into his hands a little bit, because with Steve Ramon being about 8 or 10 seconds behind him, Ramon actually came in for a pit stop, and this guy stayed out, and Chapelier also, who was in 3rd position, stayed out. We believe now that Chapelier might just have taken over 2nd place.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I think Van Beveren's gonna be more crazy and pick his line on, because he's on his own in the lead. He's gonna have no. He's not gonna be panicking. So I think he's looking good for him.
I wonder if we can see. This is just some of the start highlights and other highlights early on in the race. As it was Van Beveren who looked like he grabbed that whole shot. Did he run too wide? Was that 4 or 6? I think it was 4, wasn't it? Mousset, who found his way down the inside. Not seeing too much of him, and there was a guy at the end of the straight when they came back into the finish line area who did fall whilst leading. You think it might have, well, we're not sure if it was Mousset or Easter, or maybe even somebody like Rene. This was 27 of Jens Martin finding his way past the non-plus number 1 of Adrian van Beveren. Damon Martins was there in 3rd for a lap or so, number 12. And this guy here tried to pull away as there was carnage out on the track behind them as they started to come through some of the tighter sections so soon after the start. You can see some of the craziness that went on at that time. Then we saw the leaders, they came through. That was Martins going down in the centre of the screen as the guy that was climbing the bank, Van Beveren, had just found a way through to take the lead. But also in and amongst that group of riders was the number 23 of, here we see, Marc de Rouve. He crashed right in front of Marc de Rouve, and it looked like he just clipped his friend as he went through there, but he couldn't avoid him. But Van Beveren having no such dramas. We also saw the number 21 of Antoine Mayo go out down the straight here just as he started. And who's this coming in here? 10.82. One of the Yamaha guys. And that is 10.82. Olivier Pant. Okay. So he's down in 21st place. Looks pretty cool, calm and collected. Of course, you have to have those bikes stopped when you make that pit stop. That was him coming in a moment ago.
I saw Pierre-Alexandre René on 846 position.
Hasn't completed a lap.
So he's, yeah.
He was possibly one of the guys. He was possibly the guy that crashed out on the first lap towards the finish line area over the jump. It looked pretty big.
Rossier Victor, which is the guy riding really good as well. It's probably him, maybe as well. On the Yami.
So head down once again as he makes his way back from Stella Plage down towards the main part of the racetrack at the end of the long straight. He's had, what, 4 or 5 laps complete. Well, this will be his 5th lap, actually. So Van Beveren, look, you see, there's his progress. 3rd for the first couple of laps. 2nd when he was behind Ramon, and then he found a way past the Suzuki. And at the start of lap 5, it was Ramon who came in for a pit stop. So looking good for a possible win number 2 as we do encroach on the hour for Van Beveren. High winds here at Le Touquet, and the beach, normally quite firm, is probably just offering a little bit more resistance at the back wheel as the tide has already been quite high today. See how wet it is down this part of the racetrack, a lot wetter than it was yesterday for the Quadro race, which was won by the Yamaha rider of Jeremy Warnier. And Stephen Lenoir joins me. He's looking down the list here. Jean-Claude Rousset is outside of the top 100, you said?
Yeah, 207 position for Mousset and 205 for Marc de River. So they only complete 2 laps. So I presume they stops on same as Jenton Martens.
Yeah, and Jenton Martens was running in 3rd place for a time, just behind this guy here. The number 1 of Adrian Van Beveren, who, as you can see, just at the end of the long straight, then he gets back into the deeper stuff again. It chops and changes underneath the perfectly balanced Yamaha at the moment. And actually, Stephen, before we came on air this morning, we were talking, we've already had the discussion why Yamaha are so successful in this event. And you said, you know, they're probably the only factory that kind of support this in big time. But you said there was a particular guy, maybe like their chief mechanic, who's been around this job for 30 years, so he has a great idea, great knowledge and understanding of this event.
Yeah, he's the tuning company of Dragon, and I think for that kind of race, he's definitely a good guy with a lot of experience.
So 2 hours to go. You can see the clock there, so we're just coming up to the hour mark. As Van Beveren picking his way through the back markers who have steadied themselves. Some of these guys may be only just completing their 1st lap possibly, but most of them would have been at least on their 2nd, you would think now. But the circuit will be different again the next time around for number 1 Adrian Van Beveren. And the whoops, the holes, all carved out just because of the revolutions of the rear wheel. Different positions where riders change gear, get on the gas, of course, you hit the throttle, you crank open the throttle, the back wheel just sinks down. The more power you get, it gets you more onto the top. Change gear again, it dips it slightly, you brake, a little bit of dirt away. You see how he's just stood up on the pegs, riding through those waves on the turn there, just to keep that momentum going. And just trying to keep that front wheel as light as possible. Stephen, see, you would have practiced at places down the road, like the 2K, for instance, as is where a lot of these guys practice. Look how he's just doubling his way through just to keep that momentum going. Knowing what conditions are like at the 2K and places like Dunkirk, you know, how difficult is it to maintain that kind of focus, you know, for such a long period of time as these guys are doing? And he's just coming in now for his pit stop there.
Well, I've done a beach race before, and it's such a long track, and it's so different than motocross. The cardio is a lot lower, so you can focus a little bit more. But you have to keep your rhythm. In that long straight, you can lose some speed if you go, I don't know, 10 k's faster in 1 chase. It takes a lot of seconds. So you have to make sure you keep looking ahead on the road.
also, look how much quicker he is leaving the pit lane area on this little zigzag section here compared to Steve Ramon, for instance.
Did he stop the bike? Or
yes, he did. He got on and started it first time.
So, yeah.
Because you think that Ramon maybe didn't stop the bike?
Well, he definitely didn't start it. So.
Yeah. See, I mean, obviously it depends on the rules and regulations. Is it the rider that has to start the bike when they leave the pit lane, or can anybody start the bike for them? And obviously it's a job to know, especially with, I guess, bikes like KTM's and Husqvarna's that have electric start. You know, you never know if it's the mechanic or the rider that starts. It's Chapelier.
Chapelier coming in. But yes, for Van Beveren was definitely a quick stop.
Yeah.
A bit like spurring from Formula 1.
Yes, it was. But he's away, up and running again. Chapelier comes in, so we would assume that then possibly he could be losing his second position to Steve Ramon, depending on how quick the stop is. But we saw from the Yamaha stop of Van Beveren how slick, how fast it was, and this guy here looking pretty good as well. Just checking one or two things. Chains looking okay. Gets up on the pegs. One kick. No, two kicks. This is where it's going wrong. 3, 4.
And after an hour riding, that is pretty difficult.
Handful of kicks gone.
They're trying to fix the bike in the center.
And one foot on. That's not what you need. And there, the mechanic obviously trying to get on and start it. So probably that answers the question in terms of who is allowed and who is not allowed. It's obviously easier for the rider to start it, because if you start it, you just bang it into gear and just pull straight off. But now he's got to get the mechanic off the bike and get him on the bike. And you can see the frustration on Chapelier as he he's just waiting as patient as he can for the mechanic to get that bike started up. It fires up now, but it was a good 40-odd seconds.
He put the choke on, actually.
Oh, he's gone again.
No.
Is that the choke or the hot start? Be a hot start, wouldn't it?
I don't think there is.
It's not anymore, because no, it's full injection. What a disaster for Chapelier. He got the bike going. The mechanic will try to start it up again, and this is costing him. He's probably been in now for around about a minute or so. And you can see the frustration heading through his face there underneath the goggles, but he's at the farm of Flash Suzuki just behind this guy. Yes or no? No, it wasn't. It was a Suzuki.
I can see the steam going out of his it must be fume.
Yeah. Well, 1090, Axel van der Sande. So he was one of the guys that was around about 4th or 5th position. That's him, number 1090. And this guy here, number 12, which is Damon Martins, of course, former junior winner. He's looking well placed at the moment, looking pretty good. And they would have gone by this guy here, I'm sure. So Camille Chapelier.
The thing is, Mousse is trying to start his bike.
Yeah, and the thing is with 4 strokes, they don't like to be kicked like a 2-stroke, like fast, continuous. You have to just get top dead centre.
Mousse is definitely out there.
Yeah. So you have to just try and... everybody's panicking down there and trying to forcefully get that bike started. And is that going? Is it going? No. How many people does it take to start a bike? Like the old light bulb going. Well, this is disastrous for the Dragon Yamaha squad here, of which Chapelier is one of those riders. Still, they try. Oh, here we go again. Second time lucky. So finally then, Chapelier makes his way out, but it was a good, I would say, 3 or 4 minute stop.
Yeah, it was a long stop, but imagine how much pressure is going to have for the...
And look who's been in and out as well, number 12, just behind him, of Damon Martins.
So for the next pit stop, do you think he's going to stop the bike?
Well, rules says he has to, but he's not going to be looking forward to it, that's for sure. He'll try to focus now, though, on getting back out on track and focus on just trying to pick up as many positions as possible, as much time as possible as the Mister goes through. He's the guy that holds the most wins in this event, Stephen Noir, with 7. And he rode in the Vintage Enduro on Friday, which obviously, actually, because it's 40 years, 1975 the first, the 2K Enduro, it's 40 years this year, and they decided bikes pre-1990. And they invited past winners, of which obviously he was one, and you would have thought normally that he probably wouldn't ride, but it was eventually won by Johan Boonen. But the likes of Jean-Paul Miguels, for instance, Kees van der Ven, a 5-time winner, Eric Boers, they were all listed down to ride. David Hokiek, who's on the organising committee here, the 1997 winner, came home in 6th place. So clearly showing that he hasn't lost any of his sand riding skills. But this guy here, though, he's looking at win number 2, looking to do it on the 40th anniversary of the 2K. Steve Lenoir with me, Paul Malin, here at the 40th edition of the 2K Enduropale. And part of the success of this as a rider, Stephen Lenoir, is the fact that you have to try and remain consistent, try and maintain a high, consistent speed, but not overdo things, not rush things like we saw maybe with Jensel Martins early on in the race, where he was maybe just a little bit too aggressive. But this guy here, lots of experience. Adrian van Beveren, the guy top of the screen on the right-hand side, getting to the stage now where all of his experience is coming into play.
Yes, to race, I don't think that race is super hard, but to race with 1,000 people, it makes it really hard. And, that is why this race is so famous.
When you race at short track, for instance, in like the Max's British Championship, or if you do it in European or MXGP rounds, for instance, as a wild card, the circuit is normally around about 140, 150, 150 a lap, something like that, and a 35 plus, 30 minute plus 2 lap race. So when you're doing that, you're also riding with 30 or 40 riders who you know
yes, and
very, very well.
If a marshal forgot a blue flag, then people gets mad, but imagine here, 1,000 people in your way and there is no flag, nothing. So this is why it's so difficult.
But also, there's going to be some guys that they're going to be used to racing with, say, the top 10 from the French Sand Racing Championship, for instance. But you come here, 1,100 riders, some of them don't even race on a regular basis. They're all over the track, and it's just a big risk for them, isn't it? They have to be so concentrated for the whole of the 3 hours just to stay out of trouble. Number 18 coming in for pit stops, Timothée Florent. He's showing up on the leaderboard as 12th at the moment. But again, having difficulty getting that Yamaha fired up.
So I reckon this guy is dreaming about having a little start right now.
Don't get me started. Adam Wheeler from OnTrackOffroad.com, if you're listening, that's an argument that we have on a regular basis in the booth in MXGP. Guys who have them and guys who don't.
It's like burning now.
And then you start it up and then you stall it.
And he didn't put it to neutral as well, so which make it harder.
Yeah, good spot. But this guy's stop was very, very slick, wasn't it? He came in, left, just got off the bike. The fuel guy knew exactly what he had to do. He went, he got his own goggles, came back, jumped on the bike, one kick, gone. And again, less than 20 seconds probably.
Yeah, definitely well prepared for it.
So let's give you a quick rundown then in terms of how it's looking here after 6 laps.
But this was before Chapulet had some trouble in the pit stop, so he definitely will be back.
We'll give you the rundown in just a moment, but no doubt about who your leader is.
I say like we are 1 week away from the...
Gone down. Race leader's gone down, ran into the back of a slower rider there. Back marker goes down, so this is the only little bit of drama then for our race leader. And he's managed to keep that engine going. And yeah, Van Beveren, fortunately for him, he has time in his side, but just goes to show how easy it is to get caught out. So yeah, you were saying, Stephen, you've been riding in Spain, a little bit in France, a little bit in England, but you've just literally last night driven back into France from riding in Spain. When do you go back to the UK?
I come back to the UK next week.
Yeah.
We start to ride now on the 250F. I was on a bigger bike, but I feel in a great position. I had for sure lots of riding already. So no, it's been a good winter, and really looking forward to the new season. And
again, before we came on air, you were just telling me that quite a few guys riding out in Spain. Sean Simpson, Nathan Watson, for instance, those guys.
Yeah, I saw a lot of these guys. So it's always nice to have a couple of good riders and check a little bit what they're doing, the lap time and stuff. So it was definitely nice. But I've been pretty much on my own, doing my thing and trying to prepare myself the best.
So what is the goal for this year then? Obviously you're riding as far as last year, you're showing good speed at some races, and you got podiums as well and that kind of thing, but obviously coming into the Max's British Championship, Hawkstone Park for instance, in a week's time at Hawkstone Park International Motocross on February 8th. Obviously that is going to be about a month or so, 6 weeks before the first British Championship round, but in terms of the Max's Championship itself, what are your goals? Are you looking at, do you believe you can win it? Are you riding NX2 again, or are you riding NX1?
Yeah, definitely I'm doing one more year on the MX2 bike. And yeah, for sure, you have to believe if you want to win, so definitely I believe it. I'm one of the only guy doing only England, which is most of the fabric rider are doing GP, so I believe I can focus more on being well prepared for each race, then stay athlete. And yeah, I switched from Husqvarna to KTM, but I got still the support from Evertech, so the bike is still similar to me, you know, and yeah, everything is looking pretty good.
Just looking at number 7 here, Richard Fiora came up there, then he was in 3rd position. Lap before that, he was in 5th place. So I'm guessing the likes of, well, Dasson was just in there as well. So Dasson has now moved up to the 2nd, Fiora is 3rd. So Chapelier it was, who was one of the guys that's dropped out of that leaderboard, and David Martins, well, he might be in 4th position. There is Chapelier, he's still looking pretty good, but obviously he'll be kicking himself after that long pit stop and a lap of go. And Chapelier getting caught there, he goes down, and I was just looking down at the timing screen from a lap before. And obviously Steve Ramon, for instance, who was running in 2nd, now not even showing in the top 10. We saw him come in early, probably earlier than usual for a pit stop. He wasn't happy about the pit stop. He was riding out of the pit lane area very, very slowly and shaking his head. And we've not seen him since. He's not inside the top 10, so we can only assume, therefore, there was a problem with that bike when he came in. And they said, well, go and ride, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, hey, you know, you put yourself there, but that would be disappointment for him.
I may be wrong, but for me his bike was making
a rattling noise.
Yeah,
I heard it as well when he left. Yeah.
So
didn't want to say anything just in case, you know,
yes,
it might have been the chain rattling on the swing arm.
He's out on TV with the green and everything.
Well, Demista, he is now up into 7th place, I think it said on screen there. Again, another guy that's had a good last lap because he was 10th a lap ago. So some of the big hitters now start to use their experience, and this guy has the most experience of them all, and he looks like he's now on his way. There's a quick highlight illustration then. Van Beveren, Van der Sande, and I think that was Fura, wasn't it, in 3rd, just before it disappeared, but here's your leader. And then 4th, Chapelier, then Damon Martins 5th, Julian Tornesi is in 6th position.
It's impressive by Van der Sande because his bike looks like pretty much stock and
yeah,
no graphics.
No graphics. The radiators look pretty standard as well.
Yeah, big numbers and.
Just getting a little bit wayward there. And 142 is number 13 coming through, Tornesi. So Tornesi, one of the guys inside the top 6. There, number 13. See the difference between him and someone like Van Beveren, the way that he comes through there. Van Beveren jumping and clearing those as doubles through there at some points, but oh, guy goes down, and that could have easily caught out this guy here. So he's in 8th place, Tornesi.
By the way, Tornesi won last week in Oslo.
So a decent sand rider then, and obviously, what was that, a 2.5-hour race or a 3-hour race?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I think it's 3 hours.
But they don't get the kind of crowds that they get here at Le Touquet, do they, in the sand race?
Le Touquet is so special.
40 years. I mean, when I spoke to you the other day, when we were talking about getting you in on the show here, you were already going to sit and watch the race anyway.
Yes, every year. I can't miss it. Le Touquet is Le Touquet.
Yeah, and is that a view? There is Demista coming out of the pits, so that would be his 2nd pit stop, I would think.
Yes.
So I'm guessing then we've either missed Van Beveren's second stop, or he might be due one any moment now, possibly. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But what is it about this race? I know you said it's the 2K, it's special. Is that a view that's shared by a lot of riders in France? You know, maybe particularly in the north of France.
Yeah, we say it's a bit funny what I'm gonna say, but we say it's a religion. When you're north of France, every people do it. So this is why there is so much rider doing it on Dunkirk in the winter. For a northern guy, Dunkirk is Dunkirk. You have to ride there, even if you don't like sand. Everybody goes there. And some of the rider running the bike just.
Number 36, one of the low numbers, just going through. Eddie Mollon. Here's 12, Damon Martins. And Damon Martins at the moment sort of showing pretty decent on the leaderboard in 5th place. So as it stands at the moment, with 7 laps completed, Adrian Van Beveren leads. He's 3:05 clear of Axel van der Sande riding the 1090. Richard Fiore is 3rd, Chapelier 4th, Damon Martins is 5th, De Meester is 6th, Tom Lahus 7th, Julien Tornesi is 8th, Sebastian Dulot is 9th, as we look at more images of guys just struggling to get to grips with this circuit. And in 10th place, Romain Mouret. Jeremy Theroux is still circulating well. We've not seen too much of him. The number 29, he's in 11th place. And then Nick Cailly in 12th. Vincent Thiollier, again, another rider with a high number. But someone like Thiollier has proved over the years that he's pretty decent around here. In terms of he's generally a top 30 finisher, but last year he was disqualified. He was 27th in 2013, 21st the year before in 2012, and 17th in 2010.
We got Xavier Bourg on 42nd position.
Yeah, so Xavier Bourg has dropped out of the top 10 now. He was another guy that was in there in around about 6th position a few laps ago on the Bud Kawasaki. So,
yeah, same as Subaru.
And Subaru also fallen by the wayside. One hour, 44 minutes into the 40th edition of Le Touquet Enduropale with me, Paul Malin, and Stephen Lenoir. We're looking at number 9 here, Camille Chapelier, who is currently in 3rd position. He's just completed his 8th lap. He's 4 minutes 16 down on our race leader, Adrian Van Beveren. But the guy that's catching our imagination here, the number 1090, Axel van der Sande. And Steve Lenoir, who's my co-commentator here this weekend, is highly amused by the fact that he's riding what is definitely looking more and more like a stock bike. No graphics, standard exhaust pipe, and you find that quite amazing and quite funny.
It just looks like he's been doing like 200 hours on it. It just looks tired, his bike, but yeah, he shows that the riding skill is still really important in that sports, and that is the main thing.
Well, Adrian Van Beveren is your race leader, and tell you what is quite interesting. His opening lap was a 10-minute and 5-second affair. 8 laps in, it's now gone out to 13 minutes, almost 13 minutes and 1. And that just gives you some indication as to how this track changes over the course of the race. Of course, you can see that was flat on the first lap, but 1,100 riders or so, not all of them have completed the first lap, but there's still quite a few guys out there. And obviously, the way that the track is carved out, it's unique to a sand race, and these guys, certainly Van Beveren, your race leader, who the helicopter is following at the moment, is probably more experienced than most of the guys. We've of course seen a lot of the favourites fall out by the wayside. Jean-Claude Mousset, a 4-time winner, 5th place finisher last year, he went out early on, and so too, well, actually Arnaud de Meester is still way placed at the moment, but he didn't make a great start, has obviously had 1 or 2 problems. He's down in 6th position on a 300cc Sherco 2-stroke machine. But Richard Fiore has started to fall down the wayside. He was 3rd a couple of laps ago. He's now 5th, but he has yet to cross the line, having completed 8 laps. There's Julien Tornesi. He has completed his 8th lap, and he has gone into 5th position, the number 13 on that KTM. So at the moment it's Van Beveren, Van der Sande, Camille Chapelier, is third, Damon Martins is fourth, and this guy here, Tornesi, finds himself in fifth position, having completed 8 laps. We're still waiting for Fiora to come through, but it's a bit of a wait for him to come through, and then De Meester as well. But Tom Lahus was well placed in 8th, Sebastian Dulo 9th, and Romain Mouret was 10th last time around, just ahead of Jeremy Tarou in 11th. Nick Kay is 12th, and then Vincent Thiolier is 13th. Arnaud Morat is 14th, and Olivier Pan 15th position. And Olivier Pan is no stranger to this race, of course. And then behind those guys, well, it's just a lottery, isn't it? Because some of these guys are going to be 2 laps down on the leader soon. But is there anybody down there that shouldn't be, apart from the likes of the guys that have gone out? And this was a moment, wasn't it, a lap or so ago for Chapelier. But going down the list, in terms of numerical order, Antoine Mayo went out at the start of the second lap. Ramon went out of second position after a pit stop where he was already coming in shaking his head. Deruva went out when he was snagged by the number 27, who led it briefly, Yentel Martins. And both those guys are out. So too Pierre-Alexandre René. Xavier Bourg has dropped down the leaderboard as well. So too has Cedric Subaras, the rider who was riding 26, and we believe that those guys have all pulled in with some kind of problem or just thrown in the towel. But this guy here, number 6, Arnaud De Meester, he has pulled himself up into 6th position ahead of Richard Fiora, who was still waiting to see complete his 8th lap at the moment. Just 7 laps completed for him on what is a production Kawasaki. Picking his way through. Last year it was a tougher affair for this guy here, who was in a long old race with Antoine Mayo, who finished 2nd eventually. It wasn't until that maybe the last 20 minutes of the race that this guy could actually relax and take his relieve himself of that pressure, because Antoine Mayo last year, remember, had a tough and a long pit stop, and of course he had a crash as well that dropped him even further back, handing more of an advantage to this guy here, who just got a bit of a kick there over one of those kickers. But this is a lot easier for him this year. He's obviously enjoying time out there, Steve.
Yeah, he's definitely enjoying, but sometimes when you have nobody behind you, you can lose the focus, and yeah, he definitely needs to keep it to the end, but for sure Demir is looking pretty relaxed, taking his on of the underbar on flat out 5th gear. So
well, at least the weather looks to be improving anyway. Sun's coming out, but we're still keeping an eye on the tide coming in from the left as they head down the straight. Meanwhile, at Le Touquet, Enduropale 40, this guy here, number 1, Adrian van Beveren, is continuing to assert his authority over the rest of the field. He's completed 9 laps. We're still waiting for Axel van Descend to cross the line of Belgium. So we have a French rider in Van Beveren leading the Belgian Descend. The French rider Camille Chapelier is 3rd. And that's the progress chart from Van Beveren. Never been outside the top 3 since the opening lap. And he took over the lead on lap 5, and he's not looked back since. He's of course been helped by the fact that Mayo went out. Antoine Mayo, the multi-enduro world champion, of course Steve Ramon, a 2-time motocross world champion, Yentel Martins, Marc Deruva, a Grand Prix winner of course in MX1 and MX2. Hopefully he's okay. He's of course down to ride, and the Hawkstone International Motocross on the 8th of February in a week's time in Shropshire, but we have to wait and hear what his opinion is there. But Axel van der Sande then over the line. He's completed 9 laps. He's now 3 minutes 50 down, 3 minutes 51 down on our race leader, Adrian van Beveren. But still an impressive performance on what is a very stock-looking Yamaha.
They are not losing that much time.
No, not losing much time. In fact, the lap time last time around, 12 minutes 54. And, well, he's lost a lot of time there, a minute and a half.
He's coming in for a pit stop.
So, this second place rider then, Axel van der Sande, comes in for what looks like his second pit stop. Doesn't look that old.
45 secondes, troisième Chapelier.
Sébastien Sagot.
But he was saying he's second and Chapelier is 3rd, and he was telling them how far ahead of him he was, which is here.
45 seconds, he said.
So he comes over the line now. Does Chapelier, number 12 in number 9 in third place. There's Damon Martins actually. Maybe Damon Martins has found a way through, because we haven't seen Chapelier, have we, go through? There's Martins, so he's gone through in third. So we have lost Chapelier.
To come back for Van der Sande, he actually got the same trainer as Beveren. Sebastian Seger.
Struggling to start himself up. Paddle tyre on the back. So will we see Martins here come in for a pit stop? Oh, he's a little bit wayward. I'm guessing we will. He's already looking towards... Yes, is he going to turn tight right? Yes, he is.
He's coming in as well.
So that will play into the hands a little bit then for Axel Van der Sande, because he couldn't get that bike started. Oh, great position to be in a pit stop there.
Oh.
And look, still trying to get it going. He is frustrated. You've got to calm it down there. And we're going to see an overtake from third to second in pit lane here.
So frustrating.
So once again, just as we saw with Chapelier, the Sande struggling to get that Yamaha fired up. Here's number 12, Damon Martins. How will he fare?
Shaking a bit the arms.
So the young Belgian, the young junior winner from a couple of years ago. Oh, look at that, too easy. And he'll go past the Stricken. He took a look as well as he went past, and he will know he's moved into second position now. So that will give him a little bit more confidence. Here's the number 13, Tornesi. He's over the line, and I'm guessing he's going to be in fifth position. And he's going to be coming in for a pit stop as well any moment now, I would think. Number 10. Coming in, or just going out, actually, Nicolas Lutev. But he's way off the leaderboard. Certainly not inside the top 50.
Tornesi in the top 5 now?
Yeah, he's in fourth, and he may have overtaken Van der Sande as well, because he hasn't come in for a pit stop.
Yeah. We don't know if he had in the box.
And we don't know if it started yet. No, look, he's still there. He can't believe it. He's absolutely distraught. He's gone from second. He's still not up and running. Almost. Doesn't look like there's a lot of compression there, eh? So Axel Van der Sande then can only stand hopelessly aside.
This is the main guy from Yamaha.
On the left or the kick?
Kicking, doing all the engines and the suspension.
Well, this is one of the probably most drama-filled pit stop sort of rounds that we've seen in the 2K for a long time. Bikes not being able to start. Obviously, we said Chapelier was one. Obviously, here now with Van der Sande.
The French are swearing. They're definitely happy.
Apologies then if you understand French. But this is just going from bad to worse for Axel Van der Sande. He completed 9 laps. He was only 3 minutes 51 seconds down on our race leader, and that will certainly now play into the hands of Van Beveren, who we will try to pick up here any moment. Is that him on the right hand side?
Such a shame for Van der Sande. He was, like we say, the big number.
Well, Damon Martins came in and he was already 5 minutes and 7 down on the race leader, so that is going to go out.
Not the best looking bike, and no, it doesn't start. It's a tough sport.
I'm sure he will learn from it. They're still there, aren't they? Look, he's down on his knees. There we go. See how quickly he reacted there. Don't stall it.
Don't stall it, yeah.
Oh,
no!
And now he's got a load of tape and matting and everything wrapped around the rear wheel. Oh, and this will be outside assistance, won't it, as well? They're going to have to drag him back, so it does turn into a nightmare then. The officials will be down there in pit lane saying you can't do that there, I'm sure, and that would be probably a disqualification. Well, they'll just have to deal with that. They'll have to deal with that when it happens, but by the time he gets out on the track, an official down there may even turn around and say, you just got yourself disqualified. We don't know yet, but what a tough blow for Axel Van der Sande then. Not only does he lose second place, but he's been in there for an eternity trying to get that production Yamaha fired up, and there he is leaving pit lane. And well, we know that Damon Martins would have gone through in second now. Tornesi would have gone through in third. Chapelier possibly would have gone through in fourth. Maybe even Onno de Meester. would have gone through in 5th, although we are waiting for timing to update, and Demister may not have gone through, but who knows at the moment. But what a tough blow then, and a bitter pill to swallow for the guy who was 2nd for Axel van der Saan. Playing perfectly into the hands of this guy here, though, number 1, Adrian van Beveren. Well, Van Beveren just again going past the work area.
Makes it look easy.
Oh, and he's coming in. So this will be possibly his 3rd stop. Possibly, I don't know, because we only saw him definitely coming for 1, didn't we? So maybe he's 2nd. But I tell you what, if he's only gone like 2 stops in 2 hours and 6 minutes, he's fueled to the end of the race now, for sure. Look how calm everybody is down there.
I reckon it's his 2nd stop. It's 1 stop in 1 hour, 2nd stop, 2nd hour.
Yeah, makes sense.
That would be 2nd and last one. So.
Check that out.
His bikes are better than the 2-stroke.
Yeah, just first kick, nice and easy. Looks like they may have sacrificed a little bit of compression there for top-end speed.
I think that is the advantage to have the full factory support from Yamaha France and have the best spots and testings and everything.
Being urged on. Lives in northern France. So he's not from the 2K, is he, or is he?
No, he's not from the 2K, but he's really close from it. And good.
For someone like Jean-Claude Mousset, for instance, who is from the 2K, obviously getting the support of the fans as well, the local community. But so where is he from then?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure of the town, but definitely from north of France.
Well, he knows where he's from and he knows where he's headed as well. Looking at victory number 2. Just needs to deal with the slow riders once again. He's had 10 laps complete. He's on 11 now. And as we keep saying, looking good for the possible 2-time winner here, Adrian van Beveren, who ruffled a few feathers last year. But as we head to a commercial break, it is van Beveren who continues to lead. And we think Damon Martins is now 2nd with Julien Tornesi in 3rd. Welcome back to the 2K Live for the 40th edition of the 2K Enduropale with me, Paul Malin, and Stephen Lenoir. Adrian van Beveren, who you see pretty much on the right-hand side of the circuit there, hitting the jump now, bottom rider in shot, making his way past the slow riders out on track. We've been running for about 2 hours, 11 minutes here. Northwestern France, where the conditions are improving. Doesn't look like the wind is as strong, the tide not coming in quite as aggressively as we thought it might be, but Adrian van Beveren, well, he was more than 5 minutes clear at the end of the previous lap. He's now on lap 11, and we still wait for our 2nd place rider to come through over the line as we see how he just picks his way and picks his lines through the treacherous sands here at the 2K. Well, a lap ago, it was Axel van der Saan who was in 2nd position on the Yamaha, but he had a horrendous pit stop that saw him in there for about 4 minutes when his Yamaha failed to fire into life, which meant Damon Martins, number 12 on the Yamaha from Belgium, was able to carve his way through into 2nd position. He passed him actually whilst in the pit lane as well. As he exited pit lane, his bike was able to fire up first time, just like Van Beveren's has never missed a beat so far in the pit stops or throughout this race. In 3rd place, Julien Tornesi, the Frenchman on the KTM. There he is. He's in 3rd position on screen and looking good as well, and just about to come over the line to complete what would be his 10th lap. So we are not sure if he's found a way past the number 12 of Damon Martins. Yes, he has. So he's now moved into 2nd position. And with about, well, just over 45 minutes to go, that is not a bad time to take that 2nd position, Stephen Lenoir.
Yeah, why his reputation is to be strong until the end, so he showed it again today. But it's nearly 7 minutes off Van Beveren, so I think his goal is going to be to stay there.
Well, for someone like Julien Tornesi, not sure what happened to him last year, but certainly this will be his best finish in the 2K for sure. And he will now probably get a pit board to say that he's in second. Oh, he's coming in for a pit stop, but no problems here because we know that those KTMs have electric starts, so it will be literally in, gas up, change your goggles, maybe take a quick mouthful of drink or something like that, maybe isotonic drink of some sort. Oh, and there's that number 12. So Martins, has he stayed out or is he about to come in as well? Because he crossed the line in third just a moment ago, and the guy who's just overtaken him has come into the pits for his second pit stop.
He's definitely in second now.
Over the brow of the hill, so well, he definitely would have gone through in second position then. So that second, third place still being disputed by the number 13 who's about to leave pit lane, of course, Julian Tornesi, and the number 12 of Damon Martins. Behind them, Axel van der Sande has dropped to fourth place, we believe, at the very least. It just depends whether Sebastian Dulot, riding number 15, or Romain Mouret, number 33, who was in sixth position at the end of 9 laps, was able to capitalise on the young Frenchman's misfortunes in his pit stop. But on the left of your screen here, still looking like he's leading the way on his first lap. There was a guy crashed in the background, just completely folded the front end over the handlebars. And when you see someone like Adrian van Beveren riding as easy as this, it does look very, very easy indeed. But believers, myself and Stephen Noir, it is anything but easy. So much to think about. Riders like that going from one side of the track to the other, they're the dangers that face our race leader. Back with your race leader then. And looking, well, just as he has done all race. Immaculate. He's hardly been roosted. He's not really had to follow anybody, even when he was in the race with Ramon and Jentel Martins.
Just past his friend.
So 41 minutes left to go. Look, left-hand side of your screen. And look at the speed that he closes in on that back marker. Has to slow right down and turn it tighter. He didn't really want to do that either. But again, those warning signs are always there, aren't they, in terms of...
You have to.
That's a perfect illustration as well, though, how fast these guys are, how much faster they are than the slower guys when they approach them, you know. And when your mind is going so fast as well, reacting to everything down the straight, when you have to slow everything down, it takes a little while for the mind to process that again, doesn't it?
Yeah, and slowing down in the sand is always difficult. You don't want to, you don't want to shut too hard the gas as all the way goes in the front wheel, and it makes the bike heavy and slippery. And
yeah. Well,
after 2 hours riding,
yeah,
you feel it.
Yeah. Well, Van Beveren was on his way to completing 11 laps, but when he completed lap 10, almost a lap ago, he was 6 minutes 52 seconds clear of Julian Tornesi, number 13, who was second. Damon Martins was third, 7 minutes and 3 down on the leader. And then it was Sebastian Dulot, number 15, in fourth place. So Dulot, again, no previous record of what we can speak around this place. So Romain Mouret is now in fifth place, riding number 33. So there's a lot of guys, Steve Lenoir, who you wouldn't expect to see inside the top 5 on a normal race this when it's so loaded with some top talent that have already gone out lap 1, lap 2, lap 3.
Yeah, normally they are all going for top 15 and up for better, but this is the kind of day.
Yeah, lap 11 complete then for our race leader, number 1, Adrian van Beveren, just there on the left of your screen. So he goes through, completes lap 11 then, but outside of the top 6, or actually in the top 6 then, so Axel van der Sande. So we're still waiting for him to complete his 10th lap. Jeremy Tarou, 7th, good ride for him. Vincent Thiolier in 8th place. Nicolas Cailly is 9th, and Olivier Pain finds himself in 10th, riding the number 1082. Behind them, Arnaud Murat, Tony Mulek, or maybe even Mulek actually, from Slovenia. And then we've got Rudolf Bignot in 12th place. 13th, Eddie Molin. Then Richard Leroy, he's got a stop-go. We know that because that was put out a lap ago, the rider number 1094. And then Nicolas Letevre, Cedric Tossato, and Morgan Walicki. Vincent Combier and Camille Chapelier has dropped down to 20th position. So obviously problems for the young Frenchman. Arnaud de Meester as well, down in 23rd place. Florent Becker is 22nd. Jordan Couval is 3rd. And Marshall McPlan, another guy who's dropping down the leaderboard. He's now in 24th position. So some of these guys starting to feel the heat in the closing stages of the race. 34th position for Stefan Wattel, for instance, on the Husqvarna. Just looking to see where the first British rider is. And races they had out there, Steve?
They should have the first race, and the Frenchman won, Paulin.
Oh yeah, so a good debut victory then, certainly in moto number 1 for the HRC mounted now, Gauthier Paulin. Top 5?
So it was Paulin, just behind him, Carolet, Van der Beek, Max Nagel, and the rookie Feb.
Well, Febvre in 5th place, so
in front of the Dyker, so pretty
nice
impressive.
little teaser for things to come possibly. It's only the first round, of course, of the Italian Championship, but you know, some guys may be taking it more serious than others, but what a great view of the beach. Shame the sun's not out, and shame there's 1,100 bikes going around, but Pela 24,
yeah,
obviously out on the first lap.
Haven't done many laps yet, fortunately.
It's Pierre-Alexandre René, of course, Pela, nickname. 2009 F1 MX3 world champion, then he went off to Enduro, and he's been runner and world champion in the last 2 or 3 years. Well, world champ last year when he signed for Husqvarna factory. Carving his way through neatly still, enjoying his time on the beach. Number 1, Adrian van Beveren, still 11 laps complete for him. Tornesi still looking good in 2nd, with 3rd place Damon Martins riding number 12 from Belgium, having a great ride on the Yamaha in 3rd position. But what a great run this guy's having though. Number 1, Adrian van Beveren. He was 6th back in 2009, 2nd in 2010, 2 years 4th in a row, but then he was 3rd 2 years ago, a winner last year, and with about 35 minutes left to run, he is well on course to making it 2 wins out of 2. And what a time to do it as well at Le Touquet Enduropale 40, celebrating 40 years, of course. The first event run back in 1975. But 35.5 minutes to go for the leader, Van Beveren. 2 hours, 27 minutes has been completed here at the 40th edition of Le Touquet Enduropale. Adrian van Beveren continues to lead, having completed 12 laps. And there is number 13, Julian Tornesi, but I think we just saw the number 12 of Damon Martins go through, and I think he may have just overtaken him into 2nd position, but we'll wait for official confirmation of that. It's still quite a close run thing between those two. So 13 on the right-hand side of your screen, dropping into the bottom corner now. Julian Tornesi, maybe 2nd, maybe 3rd. Got a timing freeze on our scoring system, so we'll just bear with us if we can, but he's trying to pick his way through the slower traffic. We'll see if we can pick up the number 12 of Damon Martins. Stephen Lenoir joins me here as well, as he has been here for the duration of this 3-hour broadcast of the 2K Enduropale 40. And we were just talking in the break a moment ago, Stephen, that yeah, Adrian van Beveren just head and shoulders above everybody else, more than 7 seconds clear. There he is, the race leader. Obviously still a lot of work to do in terms of he hasn't got to take any risks. The bike could still just give up on him at any moment in time, but the track is actually looking more empty, isn't it? Less and less riders for him to have to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. There's not 1,000 people riding now.
Yeah, and Martin's just there, confirmation that he's in 2nd ahead of Tornesi, so that might have been a pit change, a pit stop manoeuvre. But yeah, less riders on the track makes it slightly easier for him. Just
yeah,
means he can
slightly
focus a
easier.
little bit more.
Needs to be careful because the track is definitely rougher, but it's definitely looking really good for him, and I'm not too worried about it.
Well, as you can see, some riders experiencing their own kind of problems out on track. Have you got any scissors? No. Have you got a knife so I can cut the tape? No, you haven't. Why? That was the body language from him, but look at the composure here of Van Beveren. Just has not taken any risk, hasn't needed to take any risks. He was in a fight for the first 2 laps with the likes of, and look, same part of the racetrack. Look at the fight that number 12 of Martins is having to put up compared to the smoother, relaxed riding style of Van Beveren.
And he's a lot smaller, so I think he's making it a bit tougher for the body.
Has to work a little bit harder. But just some illustration as to how hard these guys have to work as well. Of course, the sand, you can imagine riding a push bike off the promenade onto the beach and how it just suddenly wants to stop dead. That's exactly what happens to these guys as well. So they're always fighting the front end, especially in the deep stuff, but no such problems with that at the moment, because for the next few Ks, Van Beveren has it nice and smooth. going to the inside, trying to make it as tight as possible and avoiding the back markers there, as again we look at riders lower down the leaderboard struggling to find a way through. And now, as we had with the quad race yesterday, the sun coming out in the final half an hour of this race, and obviously the visibility starts to be a problem with the sun casting shadows in the ruts and the holes, especially when they head south down towards Stella Plage.
Ooh. He's not having a good time.
No, he's going to wrestle it. I tell you what, if he saves it, that'll be the save of the race. Good work, fella. And that being the number 41 of Florent Gendron.
Number 15.
So the 15 going through there as well. Sébastien Dulot, he's actually well placed, Dulot in 4th place at the moment.
I can't see a rider where the bike is not damaged.
Yeah, Arnaud Morin, 19. So not sure where he is in the race, but
taking selfies.
But a good result for the 15, Sébastien Dulot. He's completed at least 10 laps, so he's on par with the leader. This guy here, look at the water just in some of the holes on the way back there. That's what we're talking about a lap ago.
Yeah, this section is getting rougher and wetter.
Because obviously with the water, sometimes what happens is somebody gets parked in them, they create long ruts to the side. You don't know how deep they are, you don't know if there's a square edge bump in there or anything else. And the bike, if you hit it in the wrong way, nice on-board image there of this guy, number 1, just getting out of the slipstream and staying as close as he can. These guys are picking up some serious speed, maybe close to 100 miles an hour down this back straight, hey? With the way that they have these things geared.
Yeah, I think the bike reaching 160 kilometers or 180, so yeah, it's definitely, it doesn't look like it, but it's really fast.
Yeah. Of course, you've got to hang on. The bike's fighting as well because the back wheel always snaking down the straight. The front end is high, and as we said, when you get to the end of the straight, when it starts to slow down, your mind having to process going from 100 miles an hour plus down to sort of maybe 30 or 40 miles an hour through those chicanes. It's quite a big thing, isn't it? But again, after 11 laps, Van Beveren, Martins and Tonessi.
And definitely last year, most of the top rider end up with the tire being completely flat in the back. So I know this year they're running a different bike tire, especially made for that race. And really,
in what way would it be different?
On the compound, it just ripped. There must be. Last year, you probably have somewhere where it was kind of hard on the ground and the center completely ripped, and they just end up with no grip on the flat tire. So
it's not the kind of thing you think about, is it? Riding in the sand with it being soft, but obviously some parts of the track just a little bit harder. Van Beveren almost going down there.
Someone did.
Adrian Van Beveren continues to lead then in the closing stages. There's less than 15 minutes to go. 2 hours 43 has run, and at 2 hours 41 he set a lap time of 13 minutes and 39, so that completed his 12th lap. But 13:50 was the lap time for the guy in second position, Damon Martins, and 13:51. You can imagine that, like just 1 second difference between the guy in second and third over a 13-kilometer lap, which is Julien Tonessi. But making his way back down, we feel there's probably 2 laps left to run here, because it's going to take him, or Adrian Van Beveren, it's not going to take him 15, 16, 17 minutes to get his way back down towards the finish line area here, probably about 7 or 8 minutes, something like that, in which case then it might be a tight finish, because if a lap time is around about 14 minutes, we're at 16 minutes to go. So it should be 2 laps to go for Van Beveren. The next time he crosses the line, takes a quick look over his shoulder to see who it is that is overtaking, just making sure that he's okay. But up on the back end of the mudguard, head down once again, more than 100 miles an hour on that Yamaha Stephen Lenoir. It's been quite a convincing display from this guy, but what do you notice there?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe his team gonna tell him to slow down for the last lap, and, because he got such a big gap. There's no point take risk and go for 2 laps instead of 1. So he might do a really slow last lap, and
but that would have to be, that would have to be. Well, to be honest, he's got what, 15 minutes now on the clock. So it will be as a 13 or a 14 minute, yeah, but that'd be a full lap. So for sure, it's going to be the completion of this and then 1 more. I would think. So, you know, he'll be starting his last lap when he goes through, I would think. They may, like you say, yeah, tell him to slow down, because if his lap times are 13 minutes-ish, and he's got 2 minutes to get to that point at which he crosses the line, I don't think he's going to be there at that point, but we will keep an eye on it as he goes through. It's going to be very, very tight. But again, like yesterday with the quad race, just a little bit of live timing issues, times freezing, that kind of thing. And we say 2 hours 20 was the last time that we had a timing update here, but we do know that Van Beveren is leading, that he is more than 7 minutes clear of our third place rider, Julian Tornesi, 7:10, as he crossed the line just a few moments ago. And as we said, Van Beveren's time last time around was 13 minutes and 39 seconds. And we are approaching 14 minutes to go here. So it will be one more lap to go, whichever way you look at it. Because the other problem is you slow down too much, you could also lose concentration and make a mistake anyway. Just saw riders there parked at the side of the track. Again, just waiting for the leaders to come through, hoping that they can just sit there for one more lap, around about 15-20 minutes or so. They'd rather do that than sit in the pit lane area where they might not get classified as a race finisher. And to some guys it's a big deal, isn't it, Stephen Lenoir, just to be able to finish this race, to say, I was there, I finished the race.
Yeah. When you're gonna have a kid in 20 years, you want to tell him.
With the split lines there. Obviously we've seen Van Beveren just cross those occasionally over on different parts of the racetrack, but they just look a little bit too high to traverse there. Also look like different levels as well. Well, the one on the right slightly higher than the lane that he went through then. But again,
just did a big triple.
Yeah, just making sure that he keeps that momentum going. It's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, riders down there, guys parked up here.
Just having a drinks on the side.
And obviously just knowing that there's a rider approaching him, so goes right over to the right-hand side to do his best to minimize any kind of contact possibly with the guy, like the guy ahead of him, going from one side of the track to the other. But it just gives a good illustration how straight he's trying to maintain that line. There's the finish line just ahead of him, just out of this left-right, left combination. So it will be one lap to go, I would think, because...
yes, definitely one lap.
And the mechanics will tell him to back it off as well. They will say it'll be one lap.
Yeah, but in 12 minutes anyway, you want...
no.
At least you go for a sprint, but doped it.
So they're looking over the thing going, is it time? No, we'll sit here for another lap. So 12 minutes to go. And this for sure is going to be the final lap then for Adrian Van Beveren. So he will come over the line just over the 3 hour mark, not like yesterday in the quads where Jeremy Warnier was across the line 2 minutes before, and obviously in a 15-minute lap that took us over on the broadcast by we were going to be off air around about 1:45. We continued on air until about 4 minutes to the hour, so it makes a big difference in terms of
that would be today would be a bit right.
Yeah, so,
just be in time.
Just be in time. So the board went out. Obviously we can't see it from here. They will probably just say, right, you know, there is this amount of time left, I'm assuming, and your lap time is this, so he will be able to do the maths. And yeah, he will already start to think about lifting the trophy for a second time, and second successive year. That's pretty impressive.
In French we say jamais deux sans trois. So it means if we have two, if you got two, you got three.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have three. So.
Yeah. So basically, the graphic coming up as well. Even the timekeepers down there, who their time systems seem to be working okay, but they're saying dernier tour, which is the last lap. Speak a little bit of French when I want. It's coming quite useful the last couple of days, me being out here. Yellow flags still pretty much, yeah, that rider's still down from a couple of laps
Helicopter is coming.
Yeah, that's not good. It's never a good sign, is it? And we don't know if it was a rider the wrong side of the jump and being hit by another rider, or if he went over the handlebars and was hit by his own bike, or whatever else, or, you know, anything else, you know. But obviously the helicopter, it's not a good sign when we see that, you know, the air ambulance coming in, but it sounds like it's possibly the second time that might have been out on track today. the possibility of something that happened in the first corner, or the approach to the first corner. There was a serious injury.
Yeah, definitely. I saw it through internet that something was someone was badly injured, but don't know who bad.
But again, it's all part and parcel of motorsport, isn't it? You know, oh, the guy just getting a bit of a fold on the front end there as he came through. The rider number 56, that is Romain Galloy. So haven't seen his name up on the leaderboard, and again, it's difficult to say exactly where these guys are on the timing board now, because obviously we've had a timing freeze now for a very long time, over an hour and a half, I would say. So it's difficult to see. Haven't seen so much course cutting this year. Normally, some of those.
Yes, normally the track
Somebody
gets,
like where the guys in the red, they're not going around that. They're kind of going straight over the one, you know, the left-hander. Just, but it's the track. I think has held it pretty good. You know, I think generally that far to, or that close to the sand dunes, it hasn't been that wet. They haven't had a long period of wet weather here, and so there's no reason to look for ways over those embankments.
Yeah, and maybe they are looking for it. They want to try to cut, and he seems to have a lot of marshal now. So.
See that guy in the white helmet there, he just lost the momentum, and the front end tried to fold on him. He had to have 2 or 3 stabs with the leg just to keep himself up. That gives you some idea why it's important to maintain that momentum around somewhere as tough as this. But look at the back end working overtime there, and every time he's hitting through those holes, these guys can't wait for Adrian van Beveren to come over the line in probably around about 10 minutes time or so, maybe 11 or 12 minutes, 10 minutes or something like that. He's not far away from Stella Plage, still picking his way.
He's having fun.
Holes.
He's having fun. He's playing.
Well, I noticed yesterday when Warnier came over the line to win the quad race, the microphones were shoved under his nose, as is the norm here, because it's quite a big deal. Local TV, obviously Motors TV as well, local radio. But Francis Mugnanu, you know, from Universal Events, he's doing a lot of commentary down on the track for the spectators, for instance. So we were able to hear the interview and the you know, the question, the response from the race winner or the second or the third. So you might come in handy as my translator as the guys come over the line, because you just mentioned then.
I think I can do it.
He's having, you know, he's having fun, and maybe more so on the last lap, for instance. But he does look good. Looking really good. And it does definitely look like he's taken his foot off the gas, doesn't it? Compared to what he was a lap ago. 7 minutes to go. So we do definitely know it is the final lap.
You're gonna slow down.
Looking across as well to the right, just to see where the slow riders are. And you know, it's strange, obviously, but this racecraft, isn't it? As a racer, you know when the track gets bumpy, you look for the smoother line to the left or to the right, depending on where it is. And obviously, we saw as he came into that right-hander just a moment ago, the slower guys were on the inside where those holes are going to be deeper and sharper. And obviously, if you don't have the fitness or the technique, they're the holes that kind of grab you in just a little bit more. And someone like Van Beveren here was just able to go just a little bit wider, where the holes are a little bit more shallow, and he just opens himself up a little bit because he has the experience to read the track and to see how the track changes. A lot of these guys don't, do they?
Well, most of the guys just go where they can go. Then the difference with him, that he pick his line on go where he wants to. So
on one of our commercial breaks, while we were still looking at the live feed, there was a perfect illustration as well, how one guy, if you go riding in Dunkirk, for instance, and you're out on a training day, and your dad, your mechanic, your friend, your girlfriend, whoever is with you, and they say, dude, you need to stand up. You need to stand up more to get through the sand, you know, stand up. And you could see he was sitting down through 3 or 4 of them and half attempting to try and stand up for 2 or 3, but he didn't have the strength in his legs. He didn't understand how to quite get it, so he was sitting down for a couple, standing up for a couple, but he was like jelly, you know, so he'd stand for 2 and then collapse and just say, okay, I'll ride 2 more, 3 more like this, and you know. But here's second place.
You can't fight the sand. You have to. It's all about flow on.
Just crossing the line now. It was 12 minutes to go, so there's more than 7 minutes between first and second as they cross the line. Actually, Van Beveren and Damon Martin's here
in second.
Oh, yeah, in 6 minutes 50. So, as I say, it was about 12 minutes, wasn't there, on the clock when we welcomed Van Beveren over the line. And here's, I tell you what, it's not over, is it?
It's not over for the podium.
There's not a lot between
Second and third.
second and third because he crosses the line now.
Well, it's a big win today for Adrian in here because it's nearly a lap. What, 7 minutes? So he's
Good half
more than half lap. So
yeah. Well, we saw him on the way up to Stella Plage. Just he wasn't that far away, was he? And obviously, at that point, Damon Martins was just coming over to cross the line in second position. And it's only maybe less than 20 seconds between him and Julian Tornesi here at number 13. So Damon Martins, he can't afford to make any mistakes or any hold-ups because this guy will be right onto him, and then suddenly those two are going to be pushing each other for, I tell you, that was very, very close as well. They're going to be pushing each other. The lap times there, 13 minutes 58, 14:17. So 19 seconds, and then 14:08. So not a lot in between those guys in terms of their lap time.
definitely a good season. End of the sand season for Tunisia with a win last week. Probably a podium here. So.
He's just looked supremely confident all day long, hasn't he? When you look at those images there of Adrian van Beveren.
Well, the main difference between him and the other, he haven't been in a rush. I mean,
look at how close that was.
All the race, he's been controlling and taking his time. And well, we saw him crash once, which was not his fault, but it was really small. And then,
but he's done well to get back into second because Tornesi was second for a lap. You know, around about the time when Chapelier was in around third, fourth position as well. So, you know, still not up at Stella Plage though, is he?
No.
Still carving his way up. So it's not quite the halfway point. It's just the point that says you're now on your way back to complete the lap. But the guy's having to correct himself there. Almost stalled him. Had to slow it down. And Beveren splits two back markers. I mean, a great chalk and cheese in terms of his performance from this year to last year. You know, last year he probably didn't have the experience of leading the race and had, you know, maybe the thought that actually, you know, I'm leading, I can win it, but I've got Antoine Mayo who is having a strong performance. You know, a lot of pressure, and then obviously when Mayo fell by the wayside, you know, a long mechanical stop and also a fall in one of these corners, for instance, while he was leading the race, obviously gave him that breathing space just to maybe relax a little bit, but he's been able to relax pretty much from lap 5 when he took the lead. And you know, he's now on the home straight, working his way back. Less than 2 minutes to go in terms of the duration, the official time, 3 hours of this, the 2K Enduropale 4th edition. A track that's seen a lot of changes over the years, where it used to go up into the sand dunes. Adrian van Beveren put his name in the record book last year by winning it for the first time. He'll add his name to the list and already starting to showboat now. Put in a couple of wheelies for the local fans. And generally, I mean, last year there were 200,000 or more spectators turned out for this event, and I'm guessing a similar amount today. But there's been a perfect display from this guy here. Can't envisage anything happening now. He was fueled to the end of the race when he came in for his second pit stop with less than 50 minutes to go. And we know that he was reaching around about an hour or so.
He's not gonna go home and say, oh, I should have done this. No. This year I think it's been his year, and he's been winning as well all the French race before this one, and yeah, there is no fail in this preparation.
No. But those dunes in the background, that's kind of where the riders used to go. It used to meander up and down and around the backs of those many years ago. But as we said at the start of the broadcast, the environmentalists, you know, they got involved and said, you know, protect the grasses and the wildlife and all that kind of thing, and just keep it out on the main beach front. But yep, here he is, just taking a long look over his shoulder, but I'm not sure he can see 7 minutes 18 seconds back.
Pulling wheelies is quite cool.
Yeah. Still picking up a decent speed though. He's not completely backing off.
Still good. Still faster than everyone else. So.
Yeah, but he has the technique, he has the fitness. Of course, he hasn't got any reason to slow down. He just knows that the 3 hours are up now, and that he's almost home and dry. Taking a look at the camera on the helicam. Yeah, good lad. That's basically what Jeremy Warnier was doing yesterday as well. Showboating. Feels good. On his way to victory then, Adrian van Beveren. Track starts to tighten up just a little bit here. That's the first corner there, isn't it?
Lots of riders going to be happy to see him coming.
Yeah. I think that's the first corner to his left now. So that's where the start was just over 3 hours ago. He grabbed that €1,000 hole shot as well. He was passed at the start, just after they went through the finish line, coming out of the corner, the right-hander just after the finish line. He was passed by Jentel Martins, who led for a lap or two. Obviously exchanged places with Mark de Ruwe and Steve Ramon, jumping into the berm there nicely. Again, like you say, Steve Lenoir just having fun like he has been for the last couple of laps.
The thing is, for that kind of rider, Adrian, this race is his main goal. And when you make it happen, you know, he's looking for it. He's probably training for 6 months for that race. So
because he's a rider that will specialise only in sand racing.
Yeah,
and it's a season. This is the 5th and final race. He's probably sacrificed the sand championship for a Le Touquet victory.
Yes, and with the DNF from Chapelier, he's probably gonna still have him the championship on Le Touquet. So I think a one-day race is always so tough because you can be so easily disappointed. So I reckon today he would be super pumped.
Yeah. Well, it still has a few riders to pick his way through, but there are only a handful of lefts and rights for Adrian van Beveren to negotiate here. In fact, it's getting closer and closer all the time. More and more spectators just at the end of this straight here. And Adrian van Beveren, the defending champion, who was 6th in 2009, 2nd in 2010, 4th in 2011 and 2012. He was 3rd here 2 years ago in 2013. Penultimate corner, final turn for him. And number 1, Adrian van Beveren, is about to cross the line. He's first got to get through the riders who parked there. But here he comes now. He reaches the Arrive, and it's a second back-to-back win for the Yamaha rider, Adrian van Beveren. And 3 hours and 3 minutes or thereabouts is all it took for the Frenchman to cross the line victorious here for the second time. And a great display. And my co-commentator here, Stephen Roy, is going to help us with the translations here, I'm sure. But it's a bit of carnage down there, a bit of a scrum. As everybody wants to, it's a big deal to win this, to win it twice, even bigger.
Adrien, tu peux enlever ton casque, s'il te plaît.
There we go.
Bon, Adrien. Oh, génial.
Okay, we'll get down. How was it?
J'ai pris un plaisir monstre.
He said it was so fun. He really did enjoy it.
Quel bonheur, c'est énorme et j'ai fait vraiment la course que je voulais faire.
Big event.
Mon boss dur.
A pleasure to drive. He did the perfect race, the race that he wanted to do. He led from the beginning to the end is the question there.
Calculating the race.
Ah ouais, j'étais vraiment. C'est vrai que ça fait une semaine qu'il n'y a rien qui peut m'empêcher de gagner.
Nothing could happen to you, kind of thing.
Je le savais, je l'avais en moi, mais je voulais vraiment faire ce genre de course.
He said he knew he was.
Ma victoire de l'an dernier. Et là, je pense
he was really looking to make that kind of race, really be patient, and
yeah, he said also he knew he could do that kind of race as well. First lap he said he was a little bit afraid.
Yeah, was stuck.
Yeah, a lot of riders, stuck in key areas.
Ouais, je savais qu'il fallait faire attention aussi à la machine, dans le bouchon. C'est vrai que le bouchon c'est un peu aléatoire, mais
he took care of his engine.
Mayam a super bien marché, j'ai pris un plaisir monstre. je crois que c'est la première course où je m'amuse
said
autant sur
how
ma
good was
moto.
his
C'est vrai que
bike.
j'ai géré du
Yeah.
début à la fin. Quand j'ai vu que j'avais beaucoup d'avance, j'ai cherché à économiser ma machine et
Yeah,
aller
he said he
jusqu'au
had
bout
such
en
a big
faisant
gap,
plaisir, en
so
faisant plaisir au public
he
aussi.
was
J'ai continué à
making,
faire un peu
he
d'essai
was
parce que
being super
je
smooth
m'éclatais
with the
vraiment, je
engine.
m'amusais. Et je me suis amusé comme un fou sur cette course. C'est la course rêvée pour moi.
Est-ce que c'est
C'est tout l'aboutissement d'un travail.
He said how much sacrifice he done, and
Je crois que c'est la
this
première
is really
personne
the,
que je remercie, parce que
we say the strawberry on top.
Yeah. Cherry on the top, we say in England, yeah.
oui, on m'a prévenu au fur et à mesure,
Yeah,
mais
just thanking his team as well.
il est avec moi depuis le début et il m'a appris à passer les vitesses sur une moto. Aujourd'hui, on fait
Looks
plein de choses
emotional.
et je suis persuadé qu'on en a
Yeah, he's kind of crying. And
pour l'équipe 21, est-ce que vous avez
Well, here's
autant
our second
d'émotions que
place
l'an dernier?
rider. Look at the water out of the
Ooh.
track there. That's a shot that we
Ah ouais,
haven't
autant
seen
d'émotions,
before, and you don't
là,
want to
c'est
land in
vraiment
some
la
of those
course l'an
holes and
dernier.
the ruts, and
C'était tendu
you
jusqu'à
see
la fin,
how
je me
easy it
suis
is
pas
just to
plus
get kicked
amusé que ça.
across.
Mais là, j'ai pris un plaisir monstre sur ma moto devant le public et tout.
Yeah.
J'ai jamais
Also
vu autant de
talking
public
about
m'acclamer.
still with
J'ai vu
Adrian
les gens
Van
à bord de
Beveren,
piste
just
complètement
quite a
déchaînés,
biblical,
c'était
emotional.
fabuleux.
Last year was different, and this one he enjoyed
Ouais,
the
je viens
race,
d'avoir
and he
24
could
ans et
appreciate it more. So
je
good job
pense
for
et
Adrian Van
j'espère
Beveren.
en gagner d'autres.
looking,
Voilà.
he said he looks to win a lot more.
Good. Well, what a great performance this guy as well. The number 12, Damon Martins. Well, in 2012, he was 9th in the young riders race. He was a winner in that classification race in the young riders. This guy here in 2013. And last year finished 21st in his first ever Le Touquet Enduropale, and he's not that far away from taking second, which, you know what, for the second time as a senior rider, yeah, he's got to be careful of the rider there who's dropped the bike on the middle of the straight. That is not bad going, is it, to go from 21st year one in the senior event to a potential second place finish. Again, we can see just down by the pyramid there, that's
Well, he's
about where
been-
the finish line is.
He's been good all season from Sun races. He's been one of the good guys, and especially this last few weeks, he was always up front.
And also it'll be a Yamaha 1-2 as well, which
Yeah.
is even better. You know, Yamaha obviously take this race very, very seriously. And it will be, you know, a Frenchman, of course, Adrian Van Beveren, but it will be a Belgian in second. But hopefully, Julien Tournesi will make it 2 French riders on the podium, because he was 3rd at the start of the lap. He was only about 15, 20 seconds down on Damon Martins at the start of the final lap. So Adrian Van Beveren continues his media duties down there on the finish line, but just over the jump now in the yellow bib on the left, trying to go through the 2 slower guys. Number 12, Damon Martins, the youngster from Belgium, riding the Yamaha. This will ensure a Yamaha 1-2 in the 40th edition of the 2K. And of course, the Yamaha victory from Adrian Van Beveren now sees 15 wins for the Japanese firm. Of course, they pull 2 clear now of Honda in that win list, which is just as important. So,
And it's nice from Damon, because he's a young guy. I'm not sure the word, but I would say he's...
less than 20 probably.
Yes, definitely.
Well, as we can see, there is the finish line in a couple of corners' time. Number 12 here, Damon Martins. He will cross the line in second position. He will make it a Yamaha 1-2, a France victory. A Belgian rider here in second position. 3 hours and about 8 minutes for him. He crosses a line, and he will be jubilant as well. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say, but what a great day, a great occasion for him and his team down there as well. And I'm sure we'll get a microphone under the nose of young Damon Martins, as Adrian Van Beveren just already there. He's been there for around about 7 or 8 minutes or so. Already had a drink, already had to calm down and collect his thoughts as he prepares to take the podium. But
You can see Damon been pushing the last lap to not get caught, because 5 minute 50 he's been catching a lot on Van Beveren.
and also Tournesi, he knew that he couldn't relax as well.
Not far at all.
Here's Tournesi now out of the final turn under the finish line. He takes it, 3rd place for him, and that's a French 1-3 in this 40th edition of the 2K Enduropale. And well, we see Damon Martins had to push that final lap. There was no relaxing. He didn't have the luxury that Adrian Van Beveren had. But there is your classification. 14 laps in the end for Van Beveren, and there you go. 5 minutes 50 was the victory margin in the end over Damon Martins. And Tornesi just a few seconds further back. Here is Martins. Thanking his friends, his parents.
On rappelle que vous êtes très
Really
jeune. À
happy.
quel âge avez-vous?
J'ai 19 ans.
Ben voilà, il a 19 ans.
19.
C'est incroyable. Je rappelle surtout que c'était une course tout à fait particulière. On va le retrouver dans un instant.
Talking to local radio as well, but I'm sure Francis will get the microphone underneath his face in just a moment. But he looks in good shape for
parce que c'est
19.
une course à
Doesn't look too
rebondissement.
tired.
On a vu plein de choses se passer. On a vu quelques-uns des favoris qui ont connu des problèmes mécaniques. On a vu René qui s'arrêtait. On a vu Méo. On a vu Mousset. Il fallait être là jusqu'au bout.
Yeah,
Michael
it'd be
Schumacher
interesting to
disait
hear,
pour gagner une
obviously,
course,
Joe Clough,
espérer faire un résultat, il faut d'abord la finir. Eh bien, vous avez fait une preuve d'une intelligence assez incroyable à 19 ans, d'une maturité surprenante, vraiment.
Bah oui, c'est sûr, faut y croire jusqu'au bout.
You
Et
say he
surtout qu'il y a
believed
beaucoup de
until
pilotes,
the
il
end.
faut faire attention de rien
He
casser
took
sur
care
la
of
moto.
not
Là,
hitting
j'ai fait toute la
anyone.
course sans frein arrière parce que je l'ai cassé au deuxième tour. Donc bah, comme mon coach m'a dit, me faire plaisir sur la moto, m'amuser dans les sauts. Et
Yeah,
voilà, ça paye aujourd'hui.
Les premiers tours, les bouchons, l'embrayage, la chaleur, la
was the
surchauffe
main
de la
thing
moto, vous
from
avez
his
pensé,
coach.
vous avez essayé de l'économiser dans les premiers goulets.
Bah oui, le premier tour, c'est sûr que quand on fait
But, a great
quand on part
performance from
troisième, ça fait
You know,
c'est
he was
vraiment
always
chaud au
there or
cœur.
thereabouts,
Bon,
wasn't he?
après, dans
Always
le
in around
deuxième
about
tour,
the
il
top
faut
5,
surtout
top
faire
6.
attention à l'embrayage, essayer d'économiser un peu.
Yeah, took
J'ai
care of
resté
his
bloqué un
clutch
peu,
was
mais
the main
bon,
thing as well.
J'y ai cru jusqu'au
Very
bout et
easy
ça l'a
to-
fait. Je voudrais remercier tout le monde.
Bravo, Damon
Ça,
Mertens,
il
deuxième, on vous le
can't
rappelle.
say
Deuxième
enough,
position
everybody.
pour Damon Mertens.
Good.
Magnifique performance pour ce jeune pilote, 19 ans, je le
Unfortunately,
rappelle. 19 ans,
we
c'est
don't
l'un
have
des
to
plus
wait too
jeunes
long to have a look at
jamais
Julian
sur un
Tornesi,
podium
who
de
was
cette
third.
Enduropale. Lorsque,
Those
je le
hands
rappelle,
look a little bit
Arnaud
sore,
Messard de
particularly
gagner,
one on
il
the
avait
left
21
side
ans à
there.
l'époque. Donc là, nous, il y a un très bel espoir. Il y a 2 ans, ce gamin était sur le
Good
podium
effort.
de la catégorie des juniors. Voilà une
Because
très,
when he
très
won the
belle
junior race
indication
a couple of years ago,
son
of course, it's only an hour and a
potentiel.
half,
Merci,
that
les amis.
race, isn't it? And
2
this
years,
is 3 hours.
he said 2 years ago he was in the podium of the
Yeah,
Yes
Allez, on
race.
attend Julien
yeah. He was
Tornesi.
the winner, 2013. And that was the moment that Damon Martins crossed the line. Number 12 on the Yamaha. Wonder if he could have done another lap at that kind of pace with Tornesi closing in all the time. Well, hopefully we will hear from Julian Tornesi any moment now. Wonder why the riders are heading down the start straight in the opposite direction. Obviously that's where all the trucks are parked and heading their way back towards the thing. Here's Tornesi.
Vous n'étiez pas noté, vous saviez que vous étiez beaucoup plus loin en début de course. Il s'est passé tellement de choses devant, vous avez vu vos adversaires s'arrêter les uns après les autres. Ça doit faire chaud au cœur. Vous y avez pensé, vous avez dit, moi aussi, il faut que j'aille jusqu'au bout, il ne faut pas que je casse.
Yeah, so many things happen in front of him.
Abandonné. Le seul truc que je sais, c'est que je me suis arrêté au 3e tour. J'avais une ficelle dans la roue. J'avais plus de frein, ça me tapait dans le dos. J'étais obligé de m'arrêter. J'ai fait un ravitaillement trop. Je pense que j'ai perdu au
He
moins
said
une
he
minute.
had from the further lap.
Premier
Premier
something in the rear
podium,
wheel.
pas mal, non?
Yeah, he said he lost a lot of times.
Premier podium
Yeah.
au Touquet, c'est pas mal.
C'est très bien, je suis super
So
content.
to get the
On se
first
retrouve dans
podium
quelques
is
minutes
good.
avec
Yeah,
le podium du
really
conseil
happy.
général.
And you can see
Pas
how
de caler, Julien
physically
Tornesi qui a beaucoup d'amis.
exhausted Julian Tornesi is, and how ecstatic his
Il est
team are
bien,
around him
Julien
as well.
Tornesi, on en reparlera. Il a
he
fait
said
une
he had a
très
few
très belle
problems at the
saison,
start
le
of the race.
rappelle. C'est pas le hasard, il a été
But,
là tout au long de la saison aux avant-postes.
Lost a little bit
En
of time,
championnat de
so
France.
maybe he could have been second. Who knows? So might be a little bit of
Olivier Pain for
yeah. Wow, that's a good ride for the former Dakar rider. Oh, still the Dakar rider. But just looking at it here, then
too late.
too late. But we knew the first three and first four, Olivier Pan, but everybody else.
Jeremy Taru,
Taru,
18.
yeah, 18th in the end. He dropped down. He was just outside the top 10, wasn't he? Marshall at Plan.
Unbelievable this year, all the top guys being out straight away.
Yeah. Well, Stefan Wattel also putting in a good performance just outside the top 20. But, well, we're about done here at Le Touquet Enduropale. Number 40, 40th edition, of course, been running here now since 1975, all thanks to our friend, Mr. Thierry Sabine. But Stephen Lenoir, thank you for joining us here this afternoon at Le Touquet. I know you're going to be heading home back to the UK in a week's time for the Hawkstone Park International Motocross. But let's just recap. A great day for this guy here, Adrian van Beveren, a winner for the second time. On the podium as well, in second position, was Damon Martins of Belgium and Julian Tornesi, your top three. But it was a Yamaha 1-2 here today. Stephen, your final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I enjoy it a lot. It was my pleasure, and hopefully see you soon. And
in what was a very strange race, it was certainly drama-filled. At the beginning of the race, of course, Van Beveren grabbed that whole shot. He was passed early on by the number 27 of Jentel Martins. Marc de Ruyver led briefly before crashing out on the second lap. Steve Ramon also had a turn at the front in what was a three-way battle for the lead that involved Jentel Martins and our eventual winner, Adrian van Beveren, but he also experienced mechanical difficulties. But you cannot take away victory number 2 from Adrian van Beveren. He's from these parts. It's a Yamaha win back-to-back for him as well. Yamaha take the lead in the wins now, 15 over the 40 years. But it's a double moto win for Adrian van Beveren. My name's Paul Malin. Thank you for watching. And thanks also to Stephen Lenoir. We will see you next year, and we will leave you with some of the highlights from Le Touquet Enduropale 2015. Thanks for watching. See you next time.